Hey, Jeff.
Hey, Eric.
How are you?
I'm pretty good. How are you?
Doing well, thank you. Back to Los Angeles for It's the Real. We had to get the people the interview that they wanted.
Bill Bellamy.
Not that one. Not the one that you wanted.
Yeah.
The interview that the people were demanding. Ib Hamad, who is J. Cole's manager and Dreamville president, and it's an awesome one. Now, if people are wondering, guys, what are you doing in Los Angeles all the time? The answer
is getting tan.
Is getting terrible Airbnbs.
Well, I mean, like, that's sort of our thing, right? Like,
why? Why do we do this to ourselves?
I think it's for the story.
It's for sport.
Yeah, yeah. So we stayed in one where the shower head was about 1.5 feet too low.
Not great.
Not great. We stayed in one where I asked the guy, how do I pick up the keys? He said, don't worry, I'll leave it open.
Not a great answer.
And then when I did get the keys, I put them in the keyhole, right? Keyhole? Doorknob?
The door.
I put them in the door.
Mm-hmm.
Keyhole. Door hole. I put them in the door hole, and the house felt like it was going to fall over.
Yeah, not great.
Not great. Not advertised on the website. And then also we stayed in one that had a Russian nesting doll that started with Osama bin Laden, and then you open that up, and it is Saddam Hussein. You open that up, and it's Pol Pot. You open that up, it's Mussolini, on and on down to Hitler.
Naturally.
Yeah. Natural selection-y.
That's right. Oh.
Which brings us to this most recent trip where we go to this place. And by the way, the pictures looked amazing online. Like, it looked like way too nice to have these two dopes stay in this apartment.
And by the way, it should be said that we've had that feeling at every place we've stayed at.
Right. We are dopes and we are easily duped.
Yeah.
And so we go to this place and there's probably like 600 apartments, and you're walking through, and there's a room that says like the vibe room.
Yep.
There's the cool room.
Let's just say the clientele that are around there, it's a swingers den.
It's a swingers den. Like,
it's 600 apartments of just pure swinging.
Yeah, just like wife swapping, like
key parties. This is Hollywood's center for
STDs. Like, it is just the grossest apartments. And so we are like, damn it, like, if only we could get out of this apartment.
And unfortunately,
they have a strict policy, so we're just like,
we could not leave.
Yeah.
It is the Hotel California.
Right.
So in better news, our friend Erica Ramirez sent out an email to a whole bunch of our friends, invited them over for a taco night in our honor. In the subject line, she put, welcoming Eric and Jeff to Los Angeles, which really makes it seem like we're moving there. And look, we've been there a bunch in the last 3 months, but it doesn't mean that we're staying there. So we end up going to the party. People come in and congratulate us on our move, whatever. At the end of the night, a couple of our friends are like, hey, let's go to this person's party after this one.
Right. Well, it was a second taco night.
Yes, another taco night. And it's really close by. And we're like, cool.
Send the address.
We get in the car. We do a U-turn. We make a right. And we pull up to the spot.
And it's our fucking building. I mean, no, it's the fucking building.
It is the fucking building. And we're like, what the fuck? We are late to this party. So we go inside. And the party is over. Which... is that disappointing or not? I can't decide.
Well, I mean, it sort of doesn't allow us to confirm that it was like a total swingers party.
What kind of tacos are we talking about? that is the real question. Los Angeles, we'll be back soon.
Yeah, because I am ready to get my fuck on.
Taco Tuesdays with It's the Real.
Yikes.
Guys, today on the podcast, we have Ib Hamad. Jeff, this is an epic episode.
This is an Interscope episode.
It is an Interscope episode done in the game room. We talk about that. There's a lot of J. Cole talk, a lot of Jay-Z talk, a lot of basketball talk, and a lot of talk around building up this Dreamville movement, which is certainly something in 2018. Shout out to Ib, shout out to J. Cole, shout out to Joey IE, and we saw Brocky over there, and we saw Tim Glover, and we saw Sycamore. Man, we saw Boss Nod. There's a whole lot of dope people in that Interscope building. They're doing a lot of dope things. Jeff, when do you want to get into this podcast?
Right now.
Yo, what up? It's Eric, a.k.a. 5-point essay, a.k.a. paper long.
Yo, what up? It's Jeff, a.k.a. something on the waist, a.k.a. obese mode.
Yo, what up? This is Ibrahim, a.k.a. E. A.k.a. if you don't know me, you probably call me IB or LB. Something like that.
Yeah, it's a waste time with It's the Real. E, what's happening?
Ain't nothing, man. How y'all doing, man?
We're good. I'm glad that it took us just 3,000 miles to get this interview. We're out here at the Interscope offices, and my favorite part of the Interscope offices is that we are outside of the game room, and it's not just like the game room, like there's a ping pong table and like a basketball hoop, but it's an actual huge mural of the game.
Watching over like
which is the best. I love that. I think it's so smart.
I will say that as many times I've been in the Interscope building, I don't think I've ever been here.
Well, you can claim this as your office. Like, I don't know why you don't.
Yeah, I should just hijack it.
I know. What does Interscope mean to you, and what does Joey IE mean to you?
I think what Interscope means to me is, they're really good partners, because I think what we do as Dreamville is we have a certain way and just a certain things that we're trying to accomplish that may take longer than what's going on in the game, and really we have just a certain quality and care for our product that takes a little longer, and sometimes some people don't understand that. And I think with Interscope and with Joey specifically when he came in, and then obviously the rest of the team, they understood that it might take longer and gave us that freedom to kind of try to make our vision happen while I don't want to say taking our time, because we also don't want to just like take forever, but while taking the necessary steps we feel we need to take to kind of do this right.
Okay, but now give the answer like we weren't sitting in Interscope and
they weren't listening. But that's true. Like really, they just allow us to be us, which I think is important. I think it's easy to get caught up in a situation where you have to be something else or someone else to kind of make things happen, especially in the game we're in now and how fast everything moves and in the microwave era that we're in. But they allow us to be us, so that's important to us.
Yeah, I think it's like extremely unusual what they're doing, like, because, and I don't know if this is like the Cole model, because that's organic, right? That is just actual fans who actually buy records, who go to the concerts and support, and you've gone from like SOBs to selling out Staples Center, right?
Sure.
I think from our perspective, it's like, all right, well, let's do something similar with Bas. Let's do it with Cozz. Let's do it with like all the Dreamville artists, and let it be organic. And that's I bet you probably took every other label meeting and never heard anything like that, right?
Yeah, well, what it was is, I think that, and we didn't take a lot of label meetings, because when Joey came in, it was pretty early. Like, he kind of, when he had the first meeting with Cole, and then with myself and Cole was after Born Sinner. So it was still early. He must have seen something early. But we did meet with Atlantic. And I think it was just a comfort, you know what I mean? At the end of the day, it's same thing when Cole signed his first publishing deal, It was a comfort with Ethiopia. There's certain things that you're just going to go with the comfort. And I think what we built with Cole was kind of unique, and what we wanted to build with the rest of our artists was not the same way. We didn't want to use the same blueprint, because not everybody's Cole, not everybody's Bas, not everybody's JID. It's going to be different. But I think the one common thing that we did with Cole that we wanted to do with the rest of our artists is let's find a way to build a career, and not just like something that could be hot now and then in 3 years, 4 years, what happened to blah, blah, blah. Like, nah, I want to be able to, when I'm done, or, when I want to be able to look back and be like, damn, we helped people realize their dreams and really last and build their career, 10, 15 years down the line. So I think that's the important part that we did with Cole that we want to do with everybody else.
Well, how much do you look at, I know that you're a big Aftermath fan. Like, how much do you, I read an interview that you named that you were an Aftermath fan. How much do you look at that model and you're like, okay, well, this is what we're doing?
Well, I think that what I was saying in the interviews, I was a fan of the fact that Dr. Dre kind of built a stamp that was just so powerful, So it wasn't, obviously he has some misses too. Everybody is gonna miss on some certain things, but he had probably 3 decades of different megastars. You know what I mean? Like he had like Eminem. I mean, first, if you want to go back and say Snoop, but it's like Snoop, Eminem,
Lady of
50,
Rage. Oh, okay.
Lady of Rage, Snoop, Eminem, 50, Game, Kendrick. Like, how many people can, and then Anderson .Paak, you know what I mean? How many people can really say that they've, put those people on? So I think, but it took a while. Everyone took a while, you know what I mean? Like, before he got to Snoop, he had these attempts. Then between Snoop and Eminem, it took a while. And then between Eminem and 50, it took a little while. And then between 50 and and Game, and then to Kendrick took a long time. So it's like you have to trust. I'm not a Sixers fan. I like the Sixers, but you have to trust the process and kind of like take your time with things. And I respect that about him, and I respect that Interscope was a part of that. You know what I mean?
Well, how patient are you?
I'm really patient.
Are you?
Yeah, it took I guess because it's different. I think I'm very patient in the sense that I'm willing to see the steps that needs to be taken, like follow through. But I also know that the game is changing, and you have to adjust. We have to adjust to still being ourselves and still having the standards that we want to have and the way we want to do things, but still knowing that there's something else we need to do, and to meet halfway, to be us in today's game, and not just be us and be the outcast, but to be us in today's game. And I think that's important.
Yeah. Are you still a Queens guy at heart?
Of course. I mean, it's tough living in LA right now. I like living in LA.
Realize how cold it is back home?
Exactly. That's the good part. But I like living in LA. It's good for work, and a lot of the artists that we work with are here. So
Cole doesn't work with anybody. What are you talking about?
Yeah, that's true. But Cole's not here. So like, it's easy for me because Bas here, Cozz is here, Ari Lennox just moved here. JID and Earth Gang have a house here for like a month where they're working before tour.
Is that a disaster of a house?
Oh, yes. Well, to be honest, they had a house and got kicked out. And now they're in a new house. And they've gotten kicked. They were there for like 5 days. And I will say this, it's not their fault.
Okay.
They were actually doing everything right. But it is a lot of black kids playing music, working, going backyard smoking weed. Sometimes the neighbors. We've been there before.
I thought this was gonna be like a funny reason. That's like, oh no, this is just systemic racism.
Yeah, it's definitely the same thing. But it is what it is. They're in a new house now.
Take us back to Queens. What was growing up there like?
Man, it was interesting because when I moved to Queens, I was 10. I was born in France, in Paris, and my dad worked for the United Nations, for UNESCO. So we moved around a lot, and you could imagine being a 10-year-old kid coming from France and just being in Queens, and it's kind of like culture shock. People looking at me like, what?
Well, what UNESCO sites are in Queens?
No, the main UNESCO building is in the city, in Manhattan. So when my dad, he moved like, I would say 6 months before the rest of the family to find a house, and we were in Queens, so it's like, cool. In the beginning I was kind of pissed. I'm like, I don't want to move to New York. Like, I got friends here and shit.
Yeah. Well, what's your native language?
Well, my parents are from Sudan, so they speak Arabic.
Right. And your second language?
Was French.
Right.
I'm kind of not as good in French anymore because once I moved here, I was still a kid, so it's like I didn't have the opportunity to continuously speak it. I still spoke Arabic. I'm not the greatest at it, but my parents and my mom, when she would get mad, would still speak to me in Arabic and stuff. So it's like I understood it and I knew how to speak it. I never knew how to read or write it. But French, it was like I would have to be drunk to kind of have the confidence to say what I want to say. And even then, it's still broken.
But then you land in Queens, and now you're just sort of like thrown in the deep end with English, right?
Yeah, well, I knew English because I went in the schools. When I went to school, I took English.
Oh, okay.
And the schooling system over there was, relatively better than the American one.
Yeah.
But so I knew English by the time I got here. But it was just the difference in adjusting to your environment. Like, it's different,
Yeah.
But I think what helped me adjust was that I played basketball. So it's like I'm in the park, I'm running around, going to different parks, just playing, and then I knew football, and I'm playing in the park football with people, and it's like at the end of the day, sports and music are the common thing that could bring a lot of people together, especially for me. So I knew how to play sports, and I loved hip hop. So it's like I would come with like a CD, and my friend be like, "Damn, let me hear that." Oh, you got the new Nas CD, and it kind of like helped mold these relationships, and then through that, it kind of helped build who I am.
And where do you fall within your siblings?
I'm before last, so it's 5 of us. So I have my sister's the oldest, then it's 2 brothers older than me, and then it's Bas that's younger than me.
Right. And one of your older brothers is a DJ.
Yes.
Was he always like ahead of the game in terms of music?
Yeah, he was just the cool brother that like had it all together. Like, he was mad smart at school. Yeah. He was nice in ball. He was like incredible in tennis when we was in, and you're like, I always thought he was going to go pro. Then he started rapping. He was really good. Then I watched him learn how to DJ. And the whole time he was like an electrical engineer making mad money just doing that. Like he was always doing shit right.
Yeah.
You know, if that makes sense. And you know, I was just watching him, you know, watching my sister, watching my older brother under him improve. Just, you know, getting to watch people and just kind of seeing like where you fit, and kind of also, okay, you can do that. That's kind of cool. I want to learn how to do, like, you know, my brother, the same one, the DJ, he used to go every Tuesday at that time and, you know, buy every hip hop CD that used to come out. So he had a collection. I remember because I would share a room with him, and there was like a collection full of these CDs, and I used to like listen to them, and that's how I started falling in love with that. So it's like you pick up a lot with the siblings, you know.
Yeah. What I mean? Who had it sort of the easiest? Is your oldest sister because she's the oldest? Like, does she have it the easiest?
Or is it Bas because he's the youngest? He's the baby.
Yeah, it's tough. I think my older sister, I wouldn't say she had the easiest because I wasn't there for, you know, the first whatever 10 whatever years or less than that of her life. So I wouldn't know, but she was the only girl.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But she was also like, we respected her to a point where like we respected what she had to say, and she was kind of, you know, an older figure that we had to respect. Like she did well with that. Moma he was just good at whatever he wanted to do, I guess, and he was getting it done. I would say who had it the easiest was probably me or Bas. Because Proof was the middle one, and the middle one always gets it a little tougher. And Bas was the youngest one, so he kind of got his way a lot. I was just the one that was kind of just chilling, like, yeah, whatever, I'll figure it out. I'm around.
Well, what did you want to do in high school? Like, what were your dreams back then?
Well, I played basketball, but I knew I wasn't going to the NBA.
Yeah.
I just wanted to, like, go to school, play basketball. But once I started figuring out what I wanted to do, I think I was more so into working in sports. Like, that was always something I wanted to do, and I still want to do eventually. But that was like the first thing. And I knew I loved music, but I never thought I would work in music.
Right.
Like, I thought about it, like, as I was getting older, like, do I want to try to work at a label? But I was like, nah, it's not really for me. But I knew sports was something I definitely wanted to do, whether it was sports marketing or sports management. Not necessarily like an agent, more like sports marketing and sports management.
Mm-hmm.
But, and then music. Those were the only two things I loved. And I knew that my whole life, everything I did was driven off of passion.
Yeah.
So I knew I was passionate about sports, specifically basketball and music.
So you loved it, like SportsCenter every morning.
Oh yeah, still till today. Like, my wife hates me for that. but I love SportsCenter.
Well, that's also odd on the West Coast because of the time difference.
Oh, for
right?
sure. In the beginning it was weird, but I kind of like it now because I get games at like 4 p.m. You know what I mean? Like, you go watch a game and still have the rest of your night. You be like, all right, what am I doing now? So it's cool.
You were a Knicks fan?
Not. Here's the thing.
Oh no.
No.
Yeah.
I did in that era. I did really like the Knicks, but what it was I'm a players fan, so I followed players around my whole life, which sucks actually. It sucks to be a player fan because when they get traded, you have to like become a fan of this other team.
So who was your player of choice
Bucks or whatever?
Yeah, exactly.
Who was your player of choice in high school?
In high school, this is gonna be bad. Obviously, Iverson was one of my favorite players.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But then my other favorite player was Antoine Walker, which I just really like.
His shimmy.
Yeah, I really like this game because to me it's like it wasn't about his athleticism. It was just more so that he got shit done. Like he was like, he was hitting threes, but he wasn't the best 3-point shooter. He was making great passes, but he wasn't the best. But like, he was just good at everything, and it was just kind of cool to watch. I appreciated his game.
Yeah.
And Paul Pierce. So the Celtics I was really rooting for. But Iverson was probably my favorite player. My favorite like player of all time that I had to follow around was Carmelo. So that's why I was a Knicks fan for some years.
Yeah.
But I deep down just didn't like how they was doing them. But I had to be a fan because I wanted them to win. So,
but when the Knicks win it all this year,
that's right.
Are you going to come back to the Knicks?
When they win it all?
Yeah. You hear the confidence.
Now, you know what? I will say
yeah.
I still like the Knicks. Like, I think KP is like incredible. And but but that's about as much I can say. Nah, and Kyle O'Quinn is my guy. Like I used to coach him when he was in high school, and I was older and I graduated. He went to my high school,
Really?
And in the summer I used to coach like our AU team, and him and another close kid that I was with was Sylvan Landersberg, who was an All-American. I used to coach them a few games. I coached like 4 games for them that summer when my coach, like we would have 2 games at a time.
Yeah.
So he would put me on a team that we knew was going to win. Like, yo, just coach Kyle and Sylvan. Like, they got this. And I'm like, yeah, I got you.
Wait, so you would draw up plays out of timeouts?
I would just run, like, call plays that we all knew.
Yeah.
But I don't know if they really respected me. I was young. They was just like, yo, we fuck with Ib.
Would
It
you
was
yell
cool.
at refs?
Nah, I just make some comments like, come on, man. It's a bad call, ref. But, you know, I wasn't out there wilding. Nah, that wasn't
You
me.
made substitutions.
Yeah, I made subs. I was good at that. And
And
really
you have a
was
sterling
easy.
record, yeah.
yeah, I was probably like 3-0 or something.
So
I mean, congratulations.
Thank
Yeah,
you. Thank you.
That's the thing you
I
hang
have
your
a
hat
great
on.
record,
That's right.
yeah.
3-0.
so by
You know,
the
NBA
time,
called me.
yeah, by the time you're looking at colleges, where are you applying?
Well, the thing is, like I said, I was playing basketball. In the league, I played basketball in my high school. At the time, was like one of the best leagues in the country because we had Rice, Christ the King, St. Raymond's.
Yep.
And our team was like on the second half of the league as far as our record. But I was starting every game, and I wasn't like the star player or anything because I really started playing basketball organized late. I was just always in the park. Like, that was my thing. And but I knew I had did enough that I could probably play like D2, D3 at worst, or walk on to like a low D1. That was my thought.
Or be a coach.
Or be a coach,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like, that would be cool coming out of high school and coaching. Nah, but so then I took a couple, like 2 visits, but none came about. And then last second I was kind of like, man, I'm really not going to do this. I'm not going to spend my time waking up at 6 in the morning. Like, I know what his heads, you know what I mean? Like, I love basketball and I could keep playing it, but I'm not that guy. And then like the summer before school started, I was like, man, I'm just going to St. John's right down the block.
Yeah.
My brother Momo went there. He has relationships. I'm going to use his relationships to get in. And that's what I did. I just like, all right, I'm going to go I really wanted to go to Georgia State in Atlanta, but I didn't, obviously. And then
What was it, Georgia State?
I thought I could walk on there. And I wanted to go to Atlanta. If you grew up in New York, you wanted to go to school in Atlanta, I feel like.
Why, because of Freaknik?
Yes, exactly. Like Freaknik, like, oh, it's a lot of black girls down there. Like, you had all the HBCUs right around.
Yeah.
So I wanted to go to Atlanta. And I had my cousin that was going to Georgia Tech at the time. And I just wanted to go, but
Did you put together like a highlight reel and everything?
I think
Career?
I emailed the coach who, if I'm not mistaken, at the time was Lefty
yourself?
Drizel. Huh?
Wow.
Was yourself?
Yeah.
Yeah, I emailed him, just me. I just emailed him.
My joke just did not land, so it's fine.
Yeah, what'd you say? With yourself?
I said
You
was
were the coach.
Yeah, you were the
Oh.
coach. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's fine.
Damn, I missed that joke.
No, you didn't
Jeff
miss
missed
anything.
Let's try that
Yeah.
again. Let's try that again. So I emailed the coach.
Yeah, was that you?
Oh, man. That was hilarious.
Yo,
Nah, just fucking with you.
that was a nice assist.
Nah, I tried to get it back. Nah, but I emailed him, but I think he emailed back like something like, yeah, just come and try to walk on, something like real generic.
Right.
And I was like, man, this ain't going how I thought. This ain't gonna work out. So I chose St. John's because it was there, and it was the biggest school in a sense in New York, as in like like a real college atmosphere. NYU was obviously, I don't know if I would even got into NYU, but it was so spread out. Like St. John's felt like a real campus in New York City. So I chose that, and that was that.
And did you live on campus or you lived at home?
No,
Yeah.
my house is like my house I grew up in and my parents still have is like 2 miles away from St. John's. So I used to walk there. It was a long walk. Then I got a car, so it was cool. Like it was in the neighborhood in a sense.
Yeah.
So no, I didn't live on campus, but I was always on campus for sure.
What were you getting into on campus?
Well, you got to think. When high school, I went to old boys school.
Yeah.
Right, because it was like a good sports school, and then when I got to college, I'm like, wait, what? Like, there's girls that live here? Forget about it. My freshman year, me and my boys would just go around, like, we just come up in the dorms and we just knock on doors, because when you move in, they have like names on the doors of who lives there. We just knock like, yeah, I'm here to see Jennifer, like just cracking jokes, like just being silly, like just fucking around. And it was just fun. Like, it wasn't even about like anything else than just having fun, cracking jokes. And we was doing that, and then it kind of got old, and And then they put in mad rules because of my freshman year. They put in mad rules in the dorms. Like you had to get signed in, you had to be out by a certain time because people was wilding. And
you
really
were a security threat.
Yeah, I think so. And what it was too is like a lot of people from Queens that really wasn't doing much with their lives.
Right.
Was like, oh, there's a lick at St. John's. Like we can, and I knew niggas from like I would see on the ad be like, yo, you go to St. John's, right? What's up? Let me come. And I'm like, nah, I'm not letting you fuck my name up because you gonna rob some kid from Ohio. Right. You know what I mean? That doesn't know what's going on. So that was my freshman year though.
Well, and what'd you decide to major in? Did you go into sports marketing?
No, I tried. So my freshman year, my brother was an electrical engineer. So the dean was like, you should take some classes. You know, like your brother, he was really smart. And in my mind, I'm like, damn, I'm not exactly like my brother. Like, I'm not as smart as him, but cool. And he put me in some class. And I remember my freshman year, I was like, oh, holy shit. Like, I'm not. It was like a senior biology. Like, it was like junior calculus. And I'm like, fuck no. Like, I remember I got my first test back. I was like, this is gonna be tough.
Yo.
So I got out of there quick, and I did. I was doing communication, which I like to say is, unless you actually plan on using communication, that's like the major for niggas that don't know what they doing with their lives. So I was doing communications, and that was cool. Like it was just some cool classes I got to take.
You're hanging out on campus. You are moving around, and you have this communications sort of focus. Mm-hmm. When do you meet Jermaine?
Well, I met him because I was a sophomore when he was a freshman. So when I met him, he
was creeping through the dorms, just knocking on people's doors.
Yeah, we both was like knocking on the same door, like, yo, get the fuck out of here now. Really, what it was is there was a time in the gym where all of the people that played ball that wasn't on the team that were good, or even some of the players from the team used to get together and play. And that's how I met him, but we didn't like each other because we were both kind of like the same position. We was like tall, we was guards. And we ain't really fuck with each other. It was kind of like, cool, I respect your game.
You were both Antoine Walkers.
Yeah, nah, chill. Nah, he was actually more athletic than me. I was more of like a passing. I was more like an Antoine Walker, but like better.
Just for the record. Yeah,
Just for the record. Like, yo, Antoine, I'll give you buckets. Yeah. But no, really, we were both kind of just play pickup ball and see each other around campus, and it was cool. It was nothing, but I didn't really like know him like that. And then
were you both nice on the intramural team?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
He actually used to hate on me because intramural split into like 2 leagues and then you would meet at the end. Mm-hmm. And it was this like Guyanese kid that would always put me on his team in intramural, and they used to say like we won like the easier league, and I used to drop like 30, like, and he used to be like, bro, you playing against nobodies, and I'm like, cool, but yeah, I'm killing right now. And then in the playoffs, I would still kill, but then we would lose to like the better team. But I was still getting buckets. But no, so that's how I met him. But then I think somehow, some way, we just started like linking more, because I think he used to come to the park where we used to play at. Me and my boy Ted and Mark, like we used to go to the park not too far from the school, and we get like really good runs. All the cats would come through same time, and I think Cole started coming through the parks with us, because Ted used to come to the gym with me. At St. John's, I used to sign him in, and him and Ted got cool from basketball. So then he used to come start playing ball with us. And then I think like his junior year, or maybe like somewhere around his junior year, going into his senior year, we started like partying. And because I was a local, so it was easy for me to be like, yo, my man Ted is this, and it was just like we would go out, and we was broke, and we would just go to the city and try to like get drunk as much as we can before going in the club.
Yep.
And then, and then just know that we could probably afford one drink that we had to share. and that was like our thing. We used to go out. We used to go out a lot. Like me, him, just me and him a lot of times.
Yeah.
But then it was like a couple of my homies, Phil, used to be around. So we used to go out, and that's really when our relationship started, because he moved off campus and he was living not too far from me too. You know what I mean?
What was the first time like when he told you, I want to be a rapper?
He didn't. What happened is, I got in his car. I had heard him like freestyle at like talent shows and shit at the school, but like he was hosting, he would kick some bars, and it was like, oh, that's funny.
Yeah, you're like, my older brother raps. It's
yeah,
whatever.
It's
yeah,
cool.
Yeah.
But I got in his car, and he had the Civic, and he had a CD in like that was already playing, and I remember it was off the the Grammy Family Freestyle off the Come Up.
Mm-hmm.
And I heard that, I was like, oh shit, who the fuck is that? That's me. He trying to turn it off. I'm like, yo, what you doing, man? Like, I was like, you rap? He's like, yeah, like, and then he started telling me, but I'm like, why you don't say anything? He's like, nah, I'm not one of those. I'm not trying to be one of those guys that's like, oh, I rap. Because everybody at the time was a rapper, you know what I mean? But nobody was making it. It was just like, so he didn't want to be stereotyped into like, yeah, whatever, you rap.
Right.
So his whole mind was like, I'm going to just get signed. And then people going to be like, oh, you rap? Like, so that was the idea. And
what was his name back then?
Therapist.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
was going to say pharmacist.
But I think at that point he had already kind of changed to J. Cole in his mind. He was just like, all right, because his whole thing was like, man, therapist, that's a character.
Yeah.
If I'm going to go be a rapper, I'm going to be myself, you know? And obviously J. Cole, that's the name.
Yeah.
But
so
therapist is a better name.
Yeah, but the thing about therapist is on MySpace, it used to read the rapist. I'm serious. So people used to be like, I used to send his MySpace for people to check out, be like, the rapist? I'm like, nah, it's really therapist. You got to understand.
Yeah.
And we was like, this has got to change.
You're letting a rapist on campus
Yeah,
with
like,
you when you're knocking on doors. Yeah.
Exactly. It's like, yo, the rapist is nice. Which, I'm going to just stop there. Because I was going to say, that's a pretty crazy rap name, too.
It is.
You got to be really talented to call yourself the rapist. Like, to be that confident. But yeah, so it was therapist. And then
So you hear the music and you're like, yo, did you see it? Did you see how you could help? Did you want to help?
you know what it was? It was, I was a fan. You know, I'm a fan of hip hop first and foremost. And I think with rap specifically, it's like you can hear someone rap and you could be like, okay, you know how to rap, or you could be like, okay, that was technically a good bar, but you might not feel it. Mm-hmm. And the first time I heard his music, I felt it. I was like, oh shit, like there's something there. There's like the it factor. You know how you see somebody play basketball, you're like, oh, he has it, whatever it is. But
the ball,
right? He has it. Yeah. So he had it. He had the pen. You know, that fell flat too. That fell flat. Damn. Yeah. Thank you. That's payback. But so he had it, and I remember just in the beginning, it wasn't like, oh, I'm gonna be his manager. It was like, man, I really fuck with your music. Let me just listen to it. Can I get a CD with a couple of your joints? Yeah, cool. I would sit with it. I'll play for my brother. He'd be like, damn, he's kind of dope. Like my older brother proved. He'd be like, Jermaine, like light skinned Jermaine. Like I like, yeah. He's like, he rap. Like, yeah. And then I was working a basketball camp where we would like coach kids from like probably like 6 to like 16 different age groups or whatever. And I would link with my boy Ty, who waiting for him to get home soon. Mm-hmm. And then my boy Matt, and we was just and at that time I wasn't really a smoker, but I would smoke with them sometimes on a lunch break, which was weird because we walk back, kids would be like, damn, y'all smell like smoke. I'd be like, yeah. But and then I would play them the shit, and I would start to use my Queens like network to be like, yo, check out this kid, he's dope. And they will all be like, damn, this nigga's nice. Like, who is this? I'm like, yo, Jermaine that be with me sometime, he playing ball. Like, oh yeah, I know him. Like, it was rapist, that. Yeah, the rapist. Yeah, the rapist. Yeah. But yeah, that's fucked up. But that was what I was doing. I was just spreading the word as a fan and as a friend. I was like, let me, whatever I could do. It was never a thought of like, oh man, I'm gonna become a manager or anything.
Or like that if he gets on, like I'm gonna be his weed carrier, because like he doesn't smoke, so like
so there was no weed carrier position, so I didn't know what I was gonna do.
What are some of those first gigs like that you guys would go to?
Well, once that happened, I was like, man, we should just go to open mics, right? I'm like, let's just try it, fuck it, let's go in the city, because you have the kind of raps that if you start rapping, people gonna give you the oohs and the ahs. And that's the most you can get out of an open mic. That's what you want. Yeah. So we would go to open mics. I remember it was one on like all the way downtown. I forgot the spot, but we would go to that. There was one at what's that hookah spot? Karma.
Oh yeah. Like in the Village.
Yeah, like one of those hookah spots had like an open
Sutra
mic. Sutra. One of those had an open mic. And I remember too, because we had some like kids that went to school with us in college. They'd be like laughing like, what y'all doing going to open mic? This shit ain't never gonna work. But it was fun to me. It was just like, whatever, like, let's go, we'll get a drink, you'll rap, impress the crowd. I loved seeing the crowd's reaction.
Yeah.
Like when you know something's gonna go off and then it goes off, it's like the best feeling. You're like, I knew that was gonna work. You just didn't know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it was fun, and we started doing that, and then I think he just started trusting me and trusting my ear for music, because he would play me stuff and I'd be like, oh, that would be dope if we did this, and yo, we should make a I kind of like convinced him, I guess, to do a mixtape, and we did the Come Up, and I was like, yo, let's just put this shit out. Like, fuck it, let's put it out. Let's go hand in hand. Let's go give this shit out. And I think he was like, all right, cool. Like, he trusted me enough to do that, and then he would trust me with my ideas on the music. If I was to be like, oh, maybe, you know, we should drop the drums here or bring in this. And I think it started growing to more like I was just playing my part. Whatever was needed, it was like, yo, you need some advice? Cool. You think we should put a project together? Cool. You need me to go to the Ave with you and we just start slinging CDs? Cool. Like, I ain't doing shit. Like, you know what I mean? It ain't like I got like a 9 to 5 and I'm making.
You were a junior or you were a senior?
No, at this point, I didn't finish college. At this point, like, I was out of school. He was, I think he had just finished school. It was around the time when he was finishing up school or we was working on it. So like around the time like 2007 we started really working on it. It was like Lights Please, Wet Dreams was already done. Like these songs were like done. And then and now we was getting out of school and we was working. I was working at the Queen's Courier. Shout out to the Queen's Courier, even though they fired me.
Is that a newspaper?
Yeah, in Queens, just selling ads.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got fired because of my boy Mark. Shout out my boy Mark. He fucked up the operation.
What happened?
Well, I hope I can't get like reprimanded for this now by the Queen's Courier if they hear this. But we used to have this hustle because we used to work like, I worked 8 to 12 and he worked 9 to 1 and he worked 1 to 5, and I would clock him in when I got in.
Yeah.
And then he wouldn't clock me out. I wouldn't clock out, and then when he got out, he would clock me out. So we get paid for a whole day, even though he's there for a half a day. But then like one day he did it wrong and he tried to scratch it off and fix it, and the owner seen it and was like, hey,
damn,
man, what's going on? And I was like, yeah, you got me.
You fucked up the hometown paper.
Yeah, exactly. But we had bought Cole into that. Bas was working there too.
What?
Proof was working there. My boy Reg was out here now.
Wait,
so it was like,
this is like the Dreamville Post.
I
Like,
know,
this
yeah,
isn't a
yeah.
real newspaper.
but not all at the same time. It was like once one would get fired, the next one would just step in. Because it was like 4 of us at a time where you're just trying to sell ads.
Like over the phone.
Yeah. Like, hey, here's the Queen's Courier. Do you want to advertise your laundry mat?
Yeah.
And they'd be like, no. I'd be like, all right, cool. So then I left and I got a job at a, what do you call it? A collection agency.
Oh my God.
In Long Island. And that was paying more. So now I'm getting a little more money, like $10 an hour. And I'm like feeling myself. And then I tell Cole, like, yo, you need to come through to that. Like, that's. So then he's like, yeah. Because he was, now at this point, I think, if I'm not mistaken, because you guys know Damian Scott, obviously.
Yeah, totally.
Damian, Rich, and Rob. I don't know if y'all know Rob Alexander. He works with Revolt. He does a lot of stuff over there. Those were like his roommates. And they were moving out. So now Cole had like this 4-bedroom kind of like off-campus house that he had to pay for, but he had no money. Thank God his landlord used to let him rock. So now he's like, man, I need more money. So he came through. Well, first I had to convince the
agency?
HR at the collection agency. I'm like, look. She was like, I'm not hiring none of your friends. You always late. And I'm like, nah, but he's not like me. He graduated. He's smart. Like, he graduated summa cum laude. He's on the shit. Trust me. Just give him a shot. Like, you know, he really need this. She like, all right. And then the first day, he's 30 minutes late. She looking at me like, yo. I'm like, bro, come on. You making me look crazy. Like, but we ended up working there. And
you know who else worked for a collection agency? Drum.
He
right?
did.
And
by the way, that's the worst shit, by the way.
Yeah, no, he, like, the people would avoid the calls.
Like, you should have been great at it. You were great knocking on doors.
Yeah, but the difference is now is like you're calling them and they definitely don't want to hear from you. At least when I was knocking on doors and they'll open the door, I might be cute and they'd be like, I'll talk to this guy. Ain't no cute over the phone. Like,
I was looking for their money.
Yeah, exactly. And then the worst was like, this was really bad, especially it was bad for me. I think it was even worse for Cole because he really like would feel it and like feel bad for people. So you would call and they'll be like, listen, I don't have time for this. I just got diagnosed with cancer. And, you know, you feel bad. Like, yo, I don't want to bother somebody who's going through something like that for $37 for their Bank of America card. Like,
right.
So it was just like, It was a lot. It was
unless
kind
they
of
were
like,
lying to you.
no, unless they were lying, yeah. And that's the thing. The company would be like, they're just lying. But I'm like, nah, they sounded kind of sincere. Yeah. And then like you would have to reschedule a call, and we still talk. We was just talking about this the other day. That's why it's funny. Like Cole would reschedule a call for like a month later. Like what you're not supposed to do. Like
he's a good man though.
He's a good man. Like I give it to him. I would reschedule at least for like 2 weeks to be like, shit, I ain't trying to get fired. But I hated calling those people. And then so we was doing that, and that was around the time where we put out the Come Up. And when we put out the Come Up, it was kind of like, okay, let's. The first thing we wanted to do. Well, first no. So when we was working on that, we was working on the Come Up. We was finishing that up, and we was trying to get signed.
Yeah.
Like that was the thing. And I remember we met with someone at EMI at the time.
How did you get that meeting?
So Cole had a manager at the time, Mike Rooney, who was kind of. Well, he's Corey Rooney's nephew, and he was kind of in the industry, enough that he knew people.
Mm-hmm. And
he had the studio that we would use called Romeo, and then KMA. So we was using those studios late night for free. That's how we met Maz, who's Cole's engineer.
Mm-hmm.
So we was just going around like kind of getting whatever means we can. So people will hear be like, oh, that's cool. I don't know if that's gonna work. At the time, like that wasn't in what Cole was doing. And then we met Paul Rosenberg from Shady.
Yeah.
What was it like when that phone call came in?
It was exciting. It was like, oh shit, we meet with Paul Rosenberg. It's about to go down.
Did you go up to their offices?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was kind of like there was no real response. It was kind of like, oh yeah, that's cool.
What were you planning? Like higher or
like
blow
it was like
or?
Grown Simba, I think. Lights Please. A couple songs that never came out that are incredible. One day hopefully will still come out.
Mm-hmm.
Real album stuff. You know what I mean? Like we knew it was special songs, so we played that. But nothing happened with that. I think he got a call from Jim Jones through Aristotle that we was working with.
The director Aristotle?
Yeah. Nothing happened with that because Aristotle was a part of it too at the time. He came in, he was helping out. He went to St. John's too.
Yeah. Wait, by the way, and we'd like to ask this every once in a while. When you're in a meeting and you're playing the music, are you like bobbing your head like hard? Are you making eye contact?
Sometimes I like to just close my eyes and just get in my own zone and picture what they would feel like listening to it as an objective person. And then sometimes like I look around to kind of see the reaction, but we're definitely not, as a crew, I would say,
hopping up on the table.
Yeah, we're definitely not the guys that's like rapping to you. It's kind of uncomfortable. I hate when people do that to me. It's like, bro, I'm trying to listen to the music. I'm trying to watch you. You're saying the same words. It's kind of confusing. So it's kind of more like just being confident in your music and just letting them take it how they want to take it. At the Jim Jones was, I'm sure it was like a couple people here and there that would come through and listen.
Did you go to Baseline?
No, it was the one that's by SOBs. There was a studio over there by SOBs at the time. Not
Jungle City.
Nah, not Chung.
Oh, Chung King.
Chung King, yeah. We used to be down there, right?
Yeah.
On
or wasn't it more in Midtown?
No, they moved to Midtown, I think. But I think back then it used to be in there. So that was one. And then when we were working at Tridium, which I don't think exists anymore, which is the collection company, the guy Mike Rooney was close with this dude whose name was G-Unit Hove, right? Who actually
G-Unit Hove?
G-Unit Hove.
He
used to work with G-Unit. They used to call him G-Unit Hove. That wasn't his name. I think his name was like Dwayne or something. His brother is actually, I don't know if y'all know Trav, who raps, and he be you probably
yeah, okay.
So that was his older brother. Dwayne was his older brother. So he heard this stuff through Mike Rooney and was like, yo, this is crazy. And he worked under G-Unit. He lived in 50's crib in Connecticut.
Crazy.
So that was like, damn, that's another opportunity. And he was like, yo, y'all should come meet me, pull up in Connecticut.
At Mike Tyson's old house.
But we didn't know yet. So I was like, I was like, yo, Cole, what's the address? He sent me the address. I Googled it. I'm like, bro, we going to 50 crib. I'm from Queens, so I'm like, holy shit. I'm about to pass out and shit. We go to the HR lady. I'm like, listen, you got to let us off work early. She like, what? I'm like, this is really important. I told you Jermaine raps. She's like, all right, cool. She was mad. She loved us.
Yeah.
So she was mad nice. She was like, all right, do your thing, whatever. So we go. We driving there the whole time. We like, holy shit, we going to 50 crib. What the fuck? And then he's like, yeah, park outside and just jump in the car with me. So we're like, oh, we're not actually going in the crib, whatever. So we park outside. We parked the broken that like piece of shit Civic. I think at this time we probably got to a couple dents. Not piece of shit. I don't want to disrespect that Civic. It took us so many places.
Right, immaculate Civic.
Yeah, I love that Civic actually. We parked the Civic outside the gate, and then he comes out in the Escalade. We jump in the car. He takes us to dinner, pulls the black card out. I'm like, damn. Black card. That's crazy. Then he takes us to the club. He gives us a bottle of I think Moet each. We're like, we basically getting wine and dine at this point. Yeah. But we're like, holy shit, a whole bottle. Like we used to share drinks and shit.
You were like ready to get the G Unit like tattoo on your
right neck. You know what I mean? But then when we went back, we actually went into 50's crib. So we're like, oh shit. So now we're like, this is the house you've been hearing about.
Yeah.
And we go in and it's like, Yayo's there, Sha Money, 50's not there, but there's a couple other people there. And, you know, they had the club downstairs.
Yeah.
So Sha Money's like, yo, let's hear the music. We played like Can I Live, Lights Please. I remember Yayo going crazy. And they all like, oh shit, like this is the move. Like this the like yo, we gotta take this to 50. And then I remember like the dude from G Unit that brought us in, I think that was the first time when he was like, hold on, these are my guys.
Yeah.
Cause Sha Money was like, yo, Sha Money was trying to like, you know, and we still cool with Sha Money and you know, he helped out a lot or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So then they did take it to 50 eventually. I don't know if I'm allowed to repeat what 50 said. I don't want to throw him. Nah, I don't think he cares. Cause he mentioned before that he had a chance, I think, to fuck with Cole before that. But he was like, it was at the time when like I think Wale was just coming out, Kid Cudi, and I remember 50. The response that we got back was 50 said, "Now I don't know about that. He sounded like one of them tight jean wearing homies." I was like, "Wait, what you mean? Like we weren't even wearing tight jeans though. Like we had the baggy jeans." But I know what he meant. Like I don't think he's seen where the game was going at the time. It was kind of like that's not really on brand with us, which is true.
Yeah.
And
but you know that's why like he didn't like Danny Brown too.
He said that too.
Danny Brown wore the wrong jeans for him.
Yeah, because he would hang out with Yayo too. Yeah.
Oh, that's great. So that's what he said. He sounded like one of them tight jeans wearing niggas. And so nothing happened. But then we did have a relationship with.
Did you offer to wear G Unit clothing?
I mean, I had the tank top on when I just but to me it was obviously I'm from Queens. You know what I mean? Like I grew up on 50. It was a surreal moment. We didn't meet him then,
right?
But just even I had met Yayo and Bankston before because like our star player in high school was like down with G Unit and he was like a part of their crew.
Wow!
So they would come to our games, but it was just like holy shit! Like it started to feel a little more real. And I think at the time there was no deal on the table. But one thing me and Cole would say like later was like, man, we really used to like we was fooling ourselves the whole time. Like we was so confident and so like we knew how good the music was that we was always like, oh, the deal's around the corner. That being broke and like not having really anything going for us at the time didn't really seem like a setback. Well, it didn't affect our mind to be like, yo, we might need to like reconsider getting a real job because we were just like the deal always felt like it was around the corner. So all these little steps kind of like fueled us more. You know what I mean? And I think that happened. The G Unit thing happened, and then
well, it didn't happen.
Yeah. But and then we started the Dreamville company the first time, and it was me, Cole, Mike Rooney, and the dude Dwayne from G Unit. But Cole really quick was like, "Nah, I don't want to do this. It doesn't feel right." So we had to break the company apart, get whatever little money we had to kind of get ourselves out of that, to keep the name. And this is all like 2007. Like nobody, 2007, 2008 at this time. So nobody knows Cole. Like he's not signed nothing. And then
you trying to feed the blogs? What are you doing?
Oh, so the funny thing is, I used to shoot like footage on this camera I bought
like
in the studio. Cam? Like it was like we had a flip cam, we had like a little small cam, like, and I shoot the footage and then go make like the worst edited videos on like Windows Music. What was it? Windows Movie
Windows
Maker,
Media
Maker, whatever. Like really bad transition with the dissolving screen and everything. It was really bad, bro.
I mean, it sounds great.
Yeah.
Yo, the funny thing is, all the young filmmakers now use that because it's like in style to do that. You know,
It is.
Yeah.
Now?
Like,
Oh yeah.
They do all the effects that are like quote unquote corny. Like
Yeah,
because
of
now
course.
it's cool.
Because that's what the world is like.
Yeah.
Once something gets too corny, it's like we're gonna make it cool again.
Right.
Yeah.
So I get it. So
You were ahead of your time. Is the
I
point.
was
Yeah.
way ahead of my time. So I used to do that, and then
Of Cole in the studio.
yeah,
Yeah.
and this was like, and we just put him up on the YouTube. So we had like a little J. Cole YouTube we made, and we put one up of like him recording I Get Up,
Wow.
right? Because it's all before he got signed. We had one where it was like the first time he ever did Little Cole. It was like by accident, like Mez started filtering, like messing with his voice, and it like it's still up. It was like literally 10 minutes of just us laughing. We had one where we went to like Corey Rooney's house, and like we was doing like a fake MTV Cribs with Cole. Like we was just being kids, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like fucking around. And I forgot how. I think Aristotle connected us to Felton, y'all know Felton.
Yeah,
He works
that's our
with us
guy.
now.
Pardon Me
I don't know if
Duke.
he connected, but I think he had Pardon Me Duke at the time,
Mhm.
and he heard the music through Aristotle. Somebody. Oh no, it was through it was Modi.
DC
So-
to BC.
Modi posted I Get Up on DC to BC, the video of him recording it, saying like, yo, this is dope. And I remember being like, oh, we're on a blog.
Yeah.
So we're at work like sneaking looking. And then 2 Dope Boys posted it.
Yeah.
And that's when it felt like, oh shit. Like, cause 2 Dope Boys and Not Right was,
Everything.
Yeah.
you know what I mean? And honestly, that's what birthed a lot of what's going on now to me in the blog world was Not Right and 2 Dope Boys. Like
For sure.
they were the pioneer of that shit. You know what
Did
I
you
mean?
read every comment? Were you like,
I was in there like, what you say? Man, fuck you. You know what I mean? Because it was like one thing that people would say, it would tell you about, like, I'm super passionate. So it's like anything I'm working on, I try to feel like as if like how like I take it personal. You know, so I would take personal these comments like, man, fuck you. Like, how you gonna say that, man? We work hard on this shit.
yeah.
Man, my video's great. No, just playing.
Yeah.
And were you the manager at this point?
No, Mike Rooney was the manager. I was just, same thing. I was just his friend.
Yeah.
But he trusted me, and it was kind of like, I guess he could see that I knew what I was doing as far as the music goes, and just we kind of had the same vision for things. Like, our visions weren't too far off. Of course, we would have different arguments, or we should do this, we should do that.
But the
But
same size jeans and so like that was cool.
our jeans, like when 50 said he had tight jeans, I had on tight jeans. That was playing. But at the end of the day, it was like we knew what we was trying to accomplish. So I was just whatever, like, what you need me to do, cool. Like I'm here for that, So what we were doing is we were really just worrying about the music, and at the same time taking these meetings. So the 50 thing didn't happen, and then he met Mark Pitts. What happened is really Kirk Lightburn came to the studio through Mike Rooney again. Mike Rooney connected with a lot of people, I ain't gonna lie. Kirk Lightburn came through and heard the joints, and he was like, yo, this is crazy. I got a place for Mark Pitts. I think he's Mark Pitts' cousin, or, he's related.
Mm-hmm.
And for months, nothing happened. And he's like, man, that nigga bullshit. And then Kirk Lightburn said he would always tell Mark Pitts, like, yo, you got to get this kid. And Mark was like, yeah, whatever. And then he said Mark Pitts was walking out to go to the bathroom, and Kirk Lightburn snuck the CD on and played Lights Please, and Mark Pitts came walking back like, yo, what is this? Like, yo, you got to bring him through. So when he went to meet Mark Pitts, who at the time, who still is, I think he was like the president at RCA,
Mm-hmm.
it was kind of like, oh shit, like this is really about to happen. Like, we thought we was going to sign to Jive at the time.
Yeah.
And so he has a great meeting with Mark Pitts. Mark Pitts is like, yo, this is crazy. Nothing happens. At this point, like months go by, nothing really happens. This is around the time I told you the whole Dreamville thing started separating, started causing some problems between people. So now it was like a separation. No, so then like probably like 4 months later, he has a second meeting with Mark Pitts. Now Cole goes back to the studio and he's like, bro, I'm gonna make the best shit I can make. By the time I go to Mark Pitts, it's gonna be undeniable. Comes back, new batch of song. Mark Pitts is like, this is crazy. Nothing really happens. Then that's when we like, fuck it, we just gonna put the come up out.
Yeah.
Like if none of these deals are gonna come, let's just try to get hot. So we make the come up, and that's when Dollar and the Dream started, because we went to Greensboro for North Carolina A&T homecoming, because our boy RJ, that's like Cole's best friend, and we still work with. He went to school over there, so he's like, yo, that's like the best weekend, by the way. So it's like we was like, let's go over there and let's go sell these CDs, because everybody's on the yard, everybody's walking around, and our whole like marketing scheme was like, yo, we gonna sell these CDs for $1. And people was like, why $1? We're like, because if we give it to you for free, you're gonna throw it out. If we charge you $5, you're not gonna pay for it.
Right.
$1's like, yeah, whatever, get out my face. And then it was kind of like, but we know if you pay $1, you're at least gonna listen to one song. And if you listen to one song, we know we got you. Like, it's over. So then we was also just like, we was chilling, we was having fun with it.
Yeah.
So we was running up on girls like, yo, what's up, sure, yo, come buy this, blah blah. And she'll be like, I ain't buying it. Or like one girl will be like, how do I know you can rap? We be like, yo, Cole, come through. And we like, yo, just spit. And this mind you, there's mad people outside, so they will hear him spit, and they be like, he nice, here's $5. Boom, like just like that. We was going around, running up on dudes, whoever, like, yo, listen, my man, he from Carolina, blah blah. You know, some people will play you, some people won't. And then I remember the feeling of walking back to the parking lot and hearing like 2 different kids in their car actually playing it.
Amazing.
And being like, damn, like this shit works. They paid $1, they gonna give it. And then we walk by, they be like, hey, this shit hard. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that was a good feeling. And it was kind of like, that's all you could really get at the time, is just some validation from somebody else. Like, we knew what we had, but it's like anytime somebody else said anything, it was cool. So that was that. And while we was there, that's when we was in the mall, and that's when Mike Rooney called and was like, yo, guess who wants to meet you? And he's like, who? He's like, no, Kirk Lightburn, I think. Mike Rooney had Kirk Lightburn on the phone. Guess who wants to meet you? He's like, who? He's like, Jay-Z. We're like, man, stop bullshit. He's like, I'm dead ass. He wants to meet you. We was like, what? So he starts like, we running around the mall, like people looking at us crazy. We like, stop playing. He like, yeah, bro. Jay want to meet you, blah blah. He's like, when? He's like, we not sure when. But basically, Mark Pitts took the music to Jay, because he was like, he knew that Jive wasn't the place for it necessarily. So he took it to Jay, and Jay was just starting Rock Nation. So then we got back home, and nothing happened. We didn't really get the meeting with Jay right away. And then this is a long way to get back to your point of how these first shows were.
Yeah.
But then my boy Matt McNeil, who lives out here, who went to St. John's with us, he got us like $1,000 show in LA at LMU. And we had never been to LA. So we're like, get the fuck out of here. Off of MySpace, right? Like, get the fuck out of here. He's like, all right, what we gonna do? So Cole's like, I was like, yo, I ain't got no bread. Cole's like, look, I'll pay for the flight for me and you. Our boy Adam at the time was working in Maryland, so he had a little money. And was like, we just gonna go to LA. I was like, all right, fuck it. So we go to LA, and fucking we land, and we're like, holy shit, we're in LA. Like, this seems like we're in a different continent. We've never been out here. And then we're like, we're in LA, but we don't have a hotel, we don't have a car, and we don't have money. And we're in LA. What are we gonna do? So we land in LA. We start walking around. We dragging our bags. We walk to that Hertz over there. We try to rent a car. They like, nah, because I didn't have a credit card or a debit card.
Oh my
And you
God.
guys were all under the age
And
of...
Cole was 24,
Ah.
and he had a card. So you know you had to be 25.
Yeah.
So nothing was matching. So then we looked right down the block was like a Howard Johnson. So we got one room for the 3 of us. We just like kicked it in there. Then Matt came through. He was kind of like our LA guy because we knew him. And then we was like, yo, what we gonna do for the show? We don't have a DJ. So it's like, we burned 10 songs on a CD, which like 7 of them never came out, but they were like, till today, some are like classic songs that eventually we'll figure out what to do with it. And I would just stand next to the DJ like, I fade out. I slow the song. I do a drop. And we did like 10 songs, and nobody knew this dude. Imagine doing 10 songs and nobody knew you.
Yo.
And like full song. Like, we wouldn't do that now if
Right.
people know him. Like,
Right.
But it was in like an auditorium. Pac Div was on that show.
Wow.
I think Murs was Murs on it, and then there was another dude named
You have all the local guys.
the local, and we were like this unknown guy that lived in New York.
But you're getting $100 a song.
Yeah, that's true, exactly. Which we spent on the flight, so really we were broke still. But the experience of just being out here, and I think when we were out here is when we found out, okay, so Jay's gonna meet you next week. So when we got back, and it was kind of like, but we ain't know when. Or you're gonna get a meeting with Jay soon, but we ain't know when. And then we were still working at Tritium. Like really just
were you still like invested in your job like in any way?
Nah, it was just literally a paycheck. It was literally like, yo, how can I come in here, do these hours as quick as possible and get back to like what we have building right now? Because we knew we had something building, but we needed the money. And then
did your family understand?
I'll say this, my parents, obviously my parents are first generation immigrants, so it's different for them.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I'm not in school anymore, you doing this rap thing. Like, this
Like
might not
Jay-Z
work
doesn't
out.
mean much to them. Like
No, it's like, bro, what are you doing? But I will say that my parents, man, there's like the greatest people in the world. And it was kind of a point where my dad was like, I don't necessarily believe in like that this is the answer, but I'm going to trust you. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And same thing with Bas. When Bas got kicked out of school, it was like, but by then I had started kind of catching a wave, and it was kind of with Cole, and it was kind of like, I don't believe this is the right thing for you, but I'm gonna trust you. And I think that's important. Like, as a parent, it was like, then you want to do it to make sure that you do justice for them.
Yeah.
Because like, if you believe in me, I got to do this shit right. You know what I mean? So then we're waiting on a meeting, and then at the time, Damien used to work at Rides or one of those.
Yeah.
So he used to get a bunch of stuff for free to try out, and he had a Helio phone. And Cole had no cell phone. Cole was like, dead broke, no cell phone. So Cole had a Helio phone, but I don't know what he did to it. It wouldn't charge unless it was in the car. It would only charge at the car charger. So I'm at the time, my girlfriend was my wife now. I'm at her house and in Long Island, kind of just sleeping. And then my phone's going off. Mike Rooney's calling me. Mike Shaw, who's Cole, homie from Carolina that works with us now, they all call me like, yo, where's Cole? I'm like, I don't know, just try to call him. He's like, bro, we calling him. He's not picking up. I sent him MySpace messages. Jay's trying to meet with him today. And I'm like, fuck, his phone's not charged. So I'm calling. I know he's on the way to work, and I know how his phone works. So I'm like texting him a million texts like, yo, as soon as you walk in, don't clock in. Just call me. And so he calls me like, yo, what's up? He's like, I'm like, bro, Jay's trying to meet you right now. He's like, what? So he didn't even clock in. He like went to the bathroom to call me and walked right out of work. Came to pick me up. We in the street. We like celebrating. Like, nigga, let's go, nigga. He's like, fuck. And Cole, like, this is like our ongoing joke. Like, damn, I need some fresh shit, bro. He was like broke, so he had nothing. Fuck, let's go to the crib. And like, we just in the middle of the street, like, kind of celebrating. Like, yo, you about to go see Jay.
Yo.
We get in the car. We're like, the fuck is that smell? Because while we celebrating, he stepped on dog shit. We like, bro, you can't go meet Jay-Z smelling like dog shit. We pull the car over. We get a rag. He's cleaning the bottom of his sneakers. We stop in my crib, grab a fresh polo for him, whatever. We get to like where the Rock Nation building is at now, and then it's kind of like there's no parking there.
Right.
And we don't got no money. So I'm like, man, I'm gonna just stay in the car. You go take this meeting. You and Mike Rooney, just update me. I'm texting him the whole time. Yo, what's happening? Like, shit, bro. I'm still here waiting, bro. I'm mad nervous. So then they had like a 3-hour meeting. I'm just in the car listening to music, chilling. I didn't even care. Like, at this point, I'm just happy. Like, something's gonna happen. And he come back. He's like, man, the meeting was incredible. But like, nothing came out of it. It was just like, it was an incredible meeting.
What is it like for you to be sitting in the car and like waiting for some sort of news?
It's nerves, but it's also like, I'm so confident in the music. Like, and it's Jay. I know the kind of rapper he is. He's gonna appreciate this. So it's like, but it did feel like forever, because he waited like an hour, and then their meeting ended up being like 2 hours long. And I remember because Obama, I think it was right before election day or right after. So they had like a long conversation about Obama. Like, it was like, and then I remember.
Did they both come out in support of Obama?
No, not like, yeah, for sure. Don't take this and make it a quote like Eve says J. Cole and Jay-Z didn't support Obama. Nah. But they and I remember because he had like the Lost One video was already shot. We shot for like $10 literally. So we had these things that he played for Jay, these songs, and then the Lost One video. I vividly remember that because I didn't know Shaka at the time. I heard her name, but Cole was like, he remembers, Maverick Carter, who's LeBron's partner walked in, and like, you know, like just had a quick conversation with him, and Jay telling him about like, you know, at the time I think he was telling him about how much he respected LeBron and Maverick Carter because they was kind of just doing it on their own, and that's kind of how they started at Rockefeller, and you know, he explained to him about like how Shaka was like in charge of videos in the beginning of her career, but she didn't really know what she was doing. Yeah. But they was just all figuring it out. And then Cole was telling me when he finished playing the Lost Ones video, he said like I think Shaka and Carlene might have been there, like with their ear by the door listening. And then I think he said Shaka asked him like, "Damn, that was so good. Did that really happen to you?" Like people were like interested. And I remember feeling like, you know, it's just a feeling that you get like these people really love the music. These people were really you don't stay in the office 3 hours with Jay-Z unless something good's about to come out of that. So that was.
Do you think like maybe something went wrong?
No, not for that long.
Yeah.
Unless they started fighting or some crazy shit. Nah. So I was just like, man,
does he know I'm still down here?
Yeah, like maybe he left. Did he take the train? No, I knew it was good, and then you know that gave us an extra boost. Again, it was kind of like, okay, we're getting closer. Whether you sign a Jay-Z or not, we're definitely getting closer. Like every step felt like we was getting closer. And I remember that was November, and then like the next month, December, we was driving back from playing basketball, and he got a call that Jay wanted to do the deal. But another twist, he picks up the phone. No, he got an email on my phone because again, he didn't have no phones.
Well, not outside the car, yeah.
Not
outside of the car.
Yeah. No, not outside the car, exactly. This only worked in the car, and I think the Helio thing might have been done by then because it was like a year trial.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then, so then I get an email like, "Yo," from Mark Pitts. I'm like, "Cole, you're not gonna believe." I passed to him. He's on the phone. He calls. I forgot who he calls the time to tell him the news. We get pulled over because he's on the phone while driving. License suspended. He gets sent to jail to like the booking, central booking. We're like, no fucking way.
Oh my
like,
God.
So then, but he told me like, bro, that was the easiest time I ever had in central booking. Because the whole time I'm like, I'm about to get signed. So it's like that was like basically. I don't know how long this talk was about that, but that was the journey that got us from kind of where I started with him as just kind of being like his friend. And at the time, even when he got signed, I wasn't his manager.
Yeah.
At that point, Cole felt like, yo, I wasn't even thinking of being a manager. I was just like, yo, I know the music. I'm going to help you with this. We going to make this happen, right? And I think at the time, he's like, damn, I think he wanted it, and two, I was like, yo, I owe Mark Pitts for this. And it's like, yo, Mark, you should manage me. Mark was like, I was waiting for you to ask. I'm with that.
Yeah.
So Mark Pitts and Bas was the manager. He got to deal with Rock Nation. And I was just, you know, like really, in its truest sense, I was the A&R in the sense that I was really working on the music with him. But also kind of like day-to-day manager because I knew the vision and I knew what fit and what didn't fit and what he was willing to do or not willing to do. So, but I wasn't like the manager. That was to that point. You know what I mean?
Were you in the studio session when he recorded the Blueprint 3 stuff?
Yes.
What was that like?
That was intense because that was actually, I didn't meet Jay the day he went to the meeting. I met Jay after he signed at the Spotted Pig. Mm-hmm. Like I told you earlier, after listening to y'all podcast with Rich Kleiman, which was incredible.
Thank you.
I text Rich about that too. I was like, yo, you killed that. Yeah. We went to the Spotted Pig. Mark Pitts was there. I was there. Cole, Jay Brown, Jay, I want to say maybe Tata, Rich Kleiman, John Manilli. Like the core of what was Rock Nation when it was just starting. I remember because me and Cole were so nervous, like, yo, we got to take some shots before we go in there. So we stopped like around the corner, took a shot of Patron or some shit like to loosen up. And I remember getting in there, and that was the first time I met Jay. And, you know, I'm obviously till today, huge Jay fan. And I remember because somebody said, yo, Jay. And both Jay Brown, Cole, and Jay-Z looked. And Hov was like, whoa, hold on. We going to have to get this. I'm Jay. Like, y'all going to basically, Cole was like, shit, I go by Cole anyway. And Jay Brown was Jay Brown. Yeah. So it was like, so that was the first time I met him. The second time was when we went to the studio. And that was like, yo, Jay wants you to come by. He has his verse. He has an idea for you. And that was the same studio we waited outside the year before to try to give him a CD that never worked out. So it was kind of like, we really walk in the studio and it's Guru, Jay-Z, and Beyonce, and then it's just me and Cole, and I'm like,
unbelievable.
And I remember because I'm sitting kind of like close to Jay, and Jay's like,
Wait, which Jay?
yeah, I'm sitting next to Jay-Z, and then and he's playing his Blueprint 3, and in my mind I'm like, how did I get here? How did I get to this point in my life where I'm sitting here listening to unreleased Jay-Z music?
God.
And he was playing the songs that didn't even make the album. That was hard. And then he played us off that, and he was like, it don't got no hook on it. But then he like looks at me and he's rapping like the hook to me, like, yeah, the hook gonna be like, we off that. And I'm like, in the time I'm like, yeah, exactly. Like, that's fire.
Yeah.
Like, whatever he said was fire in that room, I'll tell you that much. And I remember just being like, yo, this is so crazy. He played us a joint that I remember never came out called, I think it was like Hypothetically Thinking or something like that. It was crazy though. I remember being like, holy shit, like what the fuck is that? So then he's like, all right, so this is the song I want you on. He plays Stars Born. And I'm like, oh, this makes perfect sense. So then he's like, all right, write your verse. And I'm like, Cole got to write his verse in front of Jay and Beyonce? I'm like, I don't know how he going to do this. Like, this is too much pressure.
How quickly does Cole work?
He did that shit fast. He wrote that verse in like 45 minutes.
Wow.
Which, you know, with that pressure, I was surprised.
Yeah.
Because the beat played, Jay and Beyonce get on their laptop, and I think Jay was probably in his headphones. Beyonce is like, I think Beyonce was
Using Windows Movie Maker?
yeah, she was like editing footage of Jay, and I was like, so she was doing something. She walks out the room, Cole's writing, and I'm sitting there like, bro, I just hope. I know he's gonna deliver.
Yeah.
Because I know him. He's a competitor. Like, you know, I know him from basketball,
Yeah,
from rap,
yeah.
anything. Like, you challenge him, he's gonna go for blood. So I know he's gonna come through. But I'm like, it's still like nerve-wracking. Then I remember Jay had to do something, so we went outside real quick in the other room, like in a smaller room, to finish the verse. And I remember he had two like different endings. It was like, yo, which one you think is better? And I was like, that one. He was like, all right, cool. So he went back in and he was like, yo, I'm ready. And he recorded. I'm looking at Jay like, I hope he likes. I remember Jay being like, you know, doing the Jay face,
Yeah.
and I'm like, woo. And I'm like, oh my God, thank God. So he's like going crazy. Then he's like, but you know, you gotta pass my A&R. My A&R gotta like it. So he brings Beyonce in the room.
Oh my God.
Plays it for her, and I'm like, oh, holy shit. I hope Beyonce likes this. She goes crazy. She's like, play it again. And I remember just being like, damn, like, how did we get here? You know what I mean? Like, a year ago, we was drinking E&J outside of the same exact building, and, you know, technically got played by Jay. Like, how we back here and the Blueprint 3 was anticipated. Like, everybody wanted to hear that album. So it was like, damn, how the fuck? And we was just so excited. But the crazy part is, after that, we go meet No ID for the first time, and he's telling us about the album, and then he's like, yeah, I don't know if your verse made it. And we're like, what the fuck you mean we don't know if our verse made it? Like, yeah, he added another verse after that. We're like, no. And at the time, Cole's relationship with Jay wasn't like he could just hit him up.
Right.
Like, Cole, when we first started, he was like, I'm not going to be all up under these guys. Like, I don't want to be the guy that's around them. I want to get to a point where I'm a peer. So he didn't really have a relationship with Jay. And we was like, man, what the fuck? This is whack. We don't even know if his verse. We didn't find out he was on Blueprint 3 till it leaked.
That's crazy.
And I remember it leaked because it was like the whole Timbaland thing. Like, some of the Timbaland records started leaking.
Yeah.
And then I remember we seen on Not Right when it leaked with his verse on it. We was like, oh, you made it. Like, that's how we found out.
Oh my
So
God.
that was probably like, he recorded that verse probably like, I can't even tell you how long before the album actually came out. So it was just months of us not knowing whether it made it. And then that was kind of like just like a moment.
What are you guys working on in the meantime?
The warm-up.
Mm.
So we had a lot of the warm-up, and the warm-up initially was, because what happened is when he was trying to get signed, Cole was trying to make songs to kind of get him signed, trying to make certain songs, and then I remember we would get into crazy arguments in the studio where, like, he would get into argument with like Mike Rooney or somebody else, and it would kind of be like yo, that's not it. Like, they're not going. And then I remember Cole snapping once on like everybody in the studio, like, yo, like, y'all gotta shut the fuck up. Like, y'all ain't making the songs. Don't tell me what kind of song to make. Like, you could tell he went through like it was just tough at the time because everybody had certain expectations.
Yeah.
We was taking these meetings, and then he was like, man, I'm not coming to the studio for a bit, and he went to Elite's house, and that's how he started the warm up, because the warm up in the beginning was just basically he was just gonna go crazy on beats that were out. So that's when we was working on the warm up, and we was doing a warm up, and it was just like, oh, this is really fire. And then Drake came out and fucked everything up, because he came out with an album that was basically as a mixtape, and we was like, damn, we can't come out with freestyles when this guy's coming out with a fucking album. So that's when we decided like to add Lights Please and all these songs that were really like hard to put on there, but because at the time we still had an idea like these are album songs. We didn't realize the power that this era of mixtape artists were gonna have on today. You know what I mean? We didn't know. So we was working on a warm up, and we kind of restructured it after Drake's So Far Gone came out, because we drove to Miami after he got signed in a Civic from New York. It was a bad trip because 3 of us was 6'4". It was tough, but So Far Gone had just dropped, and I remember we played it probably like the whole ride, because Cole put me on to Drake like 6 months before that, when Drake had dropped sooner or later. Cole's like, yo, this shit is incredible. When we was at A&T Homecoming selling the mixtape, he's like, yo, this shit is incredible. And then we hadn't really heard from Drake since. We just had heard that song, and then I heard the joint on the Kanye beat. Why do I feel so alone? I heard that and I was like, holy shit. So I remember telling Cole, like, you gotta hear this Drake. And Cole's like, yeah, whatever. Like, not really like paying attention. And we got in his car, I'm like, nah, you gonna hear this shit. And I played it, and he was like, oh shit. Like, so when So Far Gone came out, that kind of shifted how we were approaching the mixtape. And it was also at the time when it was like, Drake, J. Cole, who's this new J. Cole guy?
Right.
Like, it's like the light skin battle or whatever. And that's what we was working on, and then we dropped the warm up, and then, you know, that caught a crazy buzz.
Well, but what did Columbia and Rock Nation think when you guys were putting out like heat that, you know, was for free?
Without throwing anybody under the bus.
Throw them under the bus. It's the most controversial podcast out there.
I just don't think they knew.
Yeah.
They didn't get it. You know what I mean? Like, and I don't want to say they didn't get it like they didn't know the music wasn't good. I think they knew the music was good. I think they knew he was talented, but they didn't get what was happening at the time. I think that, and I feel like I could confidently say this, I feel like that era, what Cole did affected what happened for the next like 6 years of the industry. Because what happened is Cole and Drake were like the two new artists. This was after Wale and Cudi, right? And with Wale, I feel like, you know, even though we're in Interscope now, they didn't know what to do with it. So they kind of set him up wrong. Cudi caught a hit with Day and Night, and he was starting to go, and he had the Kanye cosign. Drake had a smash with Best I Ever Had, and then you had Cole, who had like this fan base, but he had no single. So, you know, I think what happened is they knew it was something there, but they didn't really know what to do with it, and it held us back. And it was kind of like, well, we can't put your album out till you get a single. So then it was like, fuck, here's Who Dat. We don't know what a single is. Here's Who Dat. Cool, but it didn't really work. Cool, so what we gonna do now? So then we had Can't Get Enough. And I remember Cole did Can't Get Enough. The same night we went, Drake bought him out at Radio City. And we seen Trey there, Trey Songz. And Trey was hot at the time. And I'm like, man, we should put Trey on that hook. Cole's like, hell yeah, that'll be fire. So we had Trey do the hook, but it was like a little more rappy. And we was hyped. This after we played Jay Higher. And he was like, ooh, that's fire, but I don't know if that's it. And it was like, every time we would go to Jay, we'd be like, we got a single. He'd be like, ooh, this is crazy. I don't know if that's it. And it would be like, deflation. Then we'd like blow up. Ooh, this is crazy. It's like a 9.5, but I think you got a 10. Fuck. So then it was like, Can't Get Enough. And he went crazy. I remember because it was like some mob shit. We went to meet him, and he was at Butter, the restaurant. And it was no one in there but him eating. And we walked up. And Cole was like, yo, I think I got it. And funny story that day, Jay was there and he ordered a steak. No, he ordered some pasta, and he was like, he sent it back. And when the waiter came, the waiter like, what do you want? Like, I'll just take the steak. Well done. And we looked at Jay like, well done. Like, bro, you rich. Like, you kind of been around the world at this point. You still, and Cole told him, like, yo, why you still getting your steak well done? And then I remember like a couple weeks later, because Jay texts Cole like, yo, how you say I should get the steak again? And Cole was like, try medium well. Like, I'll never forget that, because he's like, Jay, you get your steak like, you buy expensive art, like that don't make sense. So we played him Can't Get Enough, and he went crazy.
How do you play? You played on the house system?
Nah, headphones.
Oh yeah.
We played him Can't Get Enough, and we played him Blow Up in his car outside of like Soho House. Him and Cole jumped in the car, and like, so we played him Can't Get Enough. He goes crazy. We like, all right, then we got a single. Then like a month later, Jay comes back. He's like, yo, I think Trey Songz should do it different. And it was like, all right. So Trey like sang it a little more, which Rich Kleiman mentioned in the podcast, which is true.
How did Trey take that?
I don't think he took it anyway, because I think he ain't take it anyway. I don't remember him feeling anyway. And then I remember Jay being like, I'm not sure if it's it anymore. And at that point I'm hurt, because I'm like, you just sat with it for too long. Anybody that sits with a song for too long, after a while is gonna be like, I don't know if that's the one.
Right.
Yeah. So that's when we were just stuck, and we was like, man, we gotta do something. And that's when Friday Night Lights came about, which is really sacrificing his first album for the most part, and that really hurt. And I think what happened is Friday Night Lights went so crazy that now it's like the label's stuck again. Because they're like, well, we don't really know what the fuck is going on. Like,
did they look at the trending topics and see it?
No, at that time, but you got to think, at the time, that wasn't even a thing. Like, first of all, Twitter wasn't like as crazy as it is now.
Right. Well, Donald Trump wasn't running it.
Yeah, that's true. Donald Trump wasn't the highlight. Yeah. And then, two, all the artists that were taking off had hits. You know what I mean? Like, there was artists that was coming out, but they weren't taking off. But it's like Day and Night was booming. Yeah. Best I Ever Had was going crazy. B.O.B. had hits, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Who else was in that era? Even
Asher
Big Sean had came out. Asher Roth had he had a hit.
Yeah.
Even Big Sean, who came out like right before him, had started getting hits. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of like we were in a weird place where people was like, and then the internet started going crazy. Like, he's never gonna drop an album. He's never gonna have a hit.
Right.
His album ain't gonna say. I still remember to this day there was a meme, and it's like when meme were like new. It was a meme of remember that picture of Jay and Kanye in the car laughing, the video, and it was like, ha ha ha, J. Cole thinks his album's gonna come out, and I remember looking at that shit like hurt, like damn, like they really just killing us. Yo. So it was like a lot of pressure on us, and we was just trying to do whatever, and it was really a bad time. Because Cole wasn't, I feel like he wasn't making music from like a good place. He was making music from a place of, I need a hit, mm-hmm. I need a hit. And that wasn't really his thing. And then he made Workout, and we was like, oh, if they don't take this, I don't know what the fuck to do. And I think, I mean, I'm not sure, I never had a conversation with Jay about this, but I think at that point Jay was like, yeah, whatever. Like, let him put this shit, like give him, that's the single. And then we put Workout out, and it wasn't doing anything. You know, it wasn't really doing anything. But the album still had a date, so we was like, fuck it, we just want the album to come out. And I think, that's why I say I think the game changed right there, because first of all, we was on a conference call. Columbia was on a conference call with our radio rep, and the radio rep was like, yo, Cole, you should jump on this, because we was in like Texas doing a radio run. You should jump on this and, you know, just say hi to everybody. It would be cool. And one thing about Cole that I would say is, when we was doing these radio runs for Who Dat, me and him was soaking game up. We was understanding how to work the game. And at the same time, Cole is naturally just a very good person at heart. He's just a good person. So even when we didn't have hits, a lot of those radio people, they fell in love with him as a person. And I think they were willing to help him out. And
that's so important, by the way.
It's super important. I really tell people, I don't think we would be here if it wasn't for that. That and All I Want Is You. Because we didn't have a hit, but at least we was on radio. You know what I mean? Shout out Miguel. So then,
just real quick, talk about our guy Brian Nolan.
Oh, that's my guy. Yeah. Like I love B Nolan, because we learned a lot from him. We was on them radio runs with him. I mean, we had one time when we was on a radio run, we was in such a deep conversation that we didn't realize we ran out of gas on the highway on the way from like Rhode Island to New York. Me, him, and Cole. But it was like he was just putting us on the game, and it was, and he was, I would say he was one of the first people in the Columbia building that truly believed, because he came from a background where he was a Kanye fan. Like, he knew what was going on. So we get on this conference call, and I think I forgot the head of Columbia's name, Steve. I forgot his name, but he was like, "Yeah, well, you know." Cole's like, "Thank you, everybody. Mom's coming out this week. I'm so excited. Thank you very much." And he's like, yeah, we got J. Cole. We're so excited for his album. It's going to be great. Make sure to check out. We think it's going to be big. We think he could do 75 to 80,000 his first week. And we're like, wait, what? In our mind, we were supposed to hear that.
Yeah.
It was on speaker. And not that that's a bad number. That's a great number. But at the time, it was like J. Cole, Drake. J. Cole's going to flop. So we knew if we came out this 75, it was a wrap. We was going to hear it. Like, the game was going to try to bury us. And in our mind, we like, but bruh, how? Like, we doing shows. 3,000 kids are coming out. We see the reaction. We see people, like, crying when they see him and going crazy everywhere we go. Like, it can't be that. Like, it's got to be more. But they the experts. They know. And I remember because even when I met Joey after that, or somebody was telling me, like, bro, people was taking bets at other labels, like, he's going to flop.
Right.
Like, people, I feel like really people wanted to see him fail.
Right.
And people didn't understand what we were doing. So the reason I say that changed a lot is because when he came out with no real single at radio and did 220 and was number one, everybody was like, hold up. You can build a fan base and sell records without a single.
Right.
And I felt, and right after that was Kendrick.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember because Cole used to have long conversations with Kendrick, like, yo, don't let him, don't do what I did. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to do that. Because I remember there was like the rumor that Party Nauseous song. I remember we seen that. Me and Cole was like, I text Dave Free, like, I don't know, bro. Like, Kendrick and Gaga, like, don't do it, bro.
Right,
like, you know what I mean? And I think that after that, and by the way, I'm not saying that was the reason for that. I'm saying I think Kendrick probably already knew. But after that, I think after Cole and then Kendrick did it as well, then I think it was an understanding like, oh, okay, singles are not a necessity. You know what I mean? And then the game changed from there. So I say that to say I don't think that Roc Nation, well, you know, Columbia, Roc Nation really knew. I don't blame them. You know what I mean? I don't really blame them, but I don't think they knew. I don't want to say it was like, fuck it, man, let's just let this guy get this guy a shot. But I don't think anybody believed it was going to do other than us.
Well,
It's also-
I mean, the way that, like before you were talking about how J. Cole wanted to build up his own brand and didn't want to be just like Jay-Z's artist, right? So, but also at that point, was Jay keeping Cole at an arm's length? Because, like, remember that whole thing? I mean, I'm sure you do, where it was J. Cole and Jay-Z never take pictures together.
We just never was in the same place. And we had pictures that we would see. Like,
well, put
like,
it out. Prove it.
No, like, it's still a thing.
Yeah.
Like, I bet you Lenny S has a million pictures of Cole and Jay.
Yeah.
But it's like, at the time, it's like we weren't really around him as much. We went on tour with him, which we would see him. And, you know, like, that was like the beginning of the relationship forming better. But we wasn't around him to be like, Cole wasn't in industry events because he didn't want to be there. You know what I mean? Like, that wasn't really his thing like that. So it wasn't like they would get around each other and be like, yo, don't take the picture. Yo, I can't take a picture with you. I think, you know, like, I can't do that. But I think also at that time, there was a little bit, at least I can speak for myself, and I think for Cole too, you know, it was a little bit of resentment and like anger. Like, yo, y'all don't know what y'all doing or what's going on. Like, why y'all treating us? But it wasn't, it was for the better, I think, eventually. But then it got to a point where it was like, yo, we need a single. And then that's when it started feeling like they was trying to force. You know, they put him in with Stargate. They, you know, and I remember Cole had like arguments with Jay over this. Like, and Cole don't hold his tongue, so it was like he would go back and be like, yo, I'm not. You know, it was rough. I don't think anybody really knew what the fuck was going on. You know, when I look back at it, we knew we just had the music. We know we had people. But I don't think anybody knew how to break Cole other than us. You know what I mean? Like, at the end of the day. So, you know, I don't think that we were like, he was keeping us away. It was just more so like Cole didn't make an attempt to build a relationship with him. Cole was more so like, I want you. And same way, remember I told you, he didn't want to tell people he's a rapper. He was like, I'm going to get signed and then people going to find out. It was the same way. I don't want to be at a party with Jay, like, nah, I'm gonna earn my way there, and then you're gonna look at me and be like, this is my peer, you know, which he did that, and I think that's what it was really.
What was the biggest difference for you between the first album and the second album?
I think that we really just started growing more confident in ourselves, and our ideas. So after the first album, I started feeling more so like, okay, Cole trusts me more. I'm starting to take on a bigger role on this like everyday thing, and I know I'm a part of it. But and now I could like kind of push more on the boundary of what I can suggest, or what I think, So when we was working on the second album, which I always say was a really dark time, because I think we let the internet, I think Cole let the internet get to him, me too, everybody, because it was a time of like, the first album didn't go like we wanted it to, you know what I mean? So I think people was like,
well, why not?
Because
or how so, rather?
Music-wise. Because we put Lights Please in the morning, Can't Get Enough and Lost Ones on there, which Can't Get Enough and Lost One had leaked like 6 months before that, something crazy. Lights Please on the warm-up. In the morning was on Friday Night Lights. He was forcing a couple songs. Like I always say, like Mr. Nice Watch,
perfect song.
Cold World were like forces, right?
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah.
Like I want to play in this world.
Yeah.
And I think he went away from what we were doing, which like we were like making these projects and albums and like sequencing everything as within our team. And I think that one, it was so much going on that it was like he went to Jay and Mark Pitts to sequence, and and they have great value too, because they're two of the greatest that's ever done it in their field. But like they weren't a part of it as much as. And I remember Cole after coming back be like, man, I'm never doing that again. Like in the sense of I'm never like not doing this process with you and Mez and Internal T, because y'all were a part of this project. So songs that should have been on the album that maybe some other people felt like it shouldn't, and it swayed opinions, you know what I mean? The way it was sequenced, 2 songs that it was our fault. I mean, I was there for Mr. Nice Watch. I was like, man, that shit is crazy. And when I look back, it's not that Mr. Nice Watch wasn't good. It's just we didn't know how to execute that song right.
Right.
You know what I mean? But
by the way, do you realize that like the lyrics from that are still in the Hot 97?
Hot 97. I see it every time I see an interview. Like, how is that the lyrics y'all chose to keep up there? But so I think it just didn't come out how we wanted. Now, granted, I think that album could have been a classic with a lot of the songs that were on there, and the songs that we wanted to. Like, there was a song called "Nothing Lasts Forever" that was like on the leak version. That's one of my favorite Cole songs, maybe ever. Like, they got taken out late. Like certain things that we weren't as confident in.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And so, and we heard that. You got the feedback, and it hurt. It hurt because like.
Well, what do fellow artists say at that point? Like, is Drake reaching out and saying like, you got this? Is
oh no,
Kendrick,
people are hearing like, yo, this album's crazy, because they see what it is.
Yeah.
Like the songs, if you really look top to bottom at the album, like I said, other than like 2 songs, everything else is like top notch music. You know what I mean? Like Down on Dream 3 is a crazy intro. Can't Get Enough, fine. Lights Please. In the Morning. Never Told was crazy. Breakdown is one of my favorite Cole songs. Lost Ones. Nobody's Perfect. Like it's a lot of good songs on there, but it's the thing about making a classic album, like just that feel, it's not just the music. It's like our energy was off. You know what I mean? Like people could feel that our energy was off. We were unsure in the things we were doing. You know what I mean? Like, and I think it just didn't come out how we wanted it. You know what I mean? And there were songs that didn't make it that we, like Nothing Lasts Forever should have made it. Cheer Up should have probably made it. Like it was songs that probably should have made it that didn't. So I think other people were like, man, this shit. I remember like Drake texting them, or Future the Prince was manager texting me like riding around, yo, we listened to the album, this shit is crazy. Like you still gonna get those reactions because artists appreciate music, you know what I mean? So so going into the second album, it was a dark place because it was like as successful as he was and the tours we're doing, it felt like we had to get ourselves out of that. It felt like we had to get to like a point of like, yo, y'all gonna see that I am, I think in his mind, I was like, y'all gonna see I am who y'all think, I'm supposed to be. I don't know what was going through his head, but that's just the vibe I got.
Well, certainly it results in something like Let Nas Down, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like Born Sinner was a dark album, you know what I mean? And
what was the TLC one, right?
TLC, Crooked Smile. And then it was crazy because we was making that album, and he he had a funk, and he was like, you know what, I'm gonna go home and record out the house in my comfort zone. I'm gonna stay out the studio for a bit. And he came back like 2 weeks later. We all got back in the studio. He played Power Trip, and I was like, bro, that's the one.
Yeah.
And Mez was like, that's the one. And then it was the first time we felt like, okay, because mind you, we had already announced the album and said it was coming out January 28th. And we had no chance of making it January 28th. Like, we didn't even announce that it was delayed. We just didn't put it out. Like, nobody questioned this. Like, they just knew it wasn't coming out. Like, we did a whole announcement and everything, and just that's it, left it alone. And so he did Power Trip, and it felt like something special. We had a lot of the core songs. Then he had Crooked Smile. And this is why I really felt like, I want to say, like, even more confidence, because on my end, it's like, with the role I was playing, because we had Power Trip and Crooked Smile, and I remember it was like a room of like 12 of us, and he was like, man, I think we should go with Crooked Smile first, like damn near the whole room. And I'm like, man, y'all are crazy. Like, we need to go with Power Trip, because if Power Trip works, we separate ourselves from everything else on radio. Crooked Smile sounds like a radio song. We knew what it was, but Power Trip is different. Like, if it misses, it misses, and then we're kind of fucked. But we kind of got to roll the dice, because if it hits, it's going to hit big. Like, nothing sounds like it. It has all the elements, and like an argument. My boy Adam was like the only person on my side. And I think Cole now, 100 times out of 100 times would see that. But at the time, you're going through like this unsureness of like, bro, what the fuck is going on? So he's like, I don't know, Crooked Smile. Like, it was like the room was leaning towards Crooked Smile, because it was like, it's more of a sure thing. But I was like, nah, bro, like, we got to go with Power Trip. And I remember Cole asked Jay, and Jay was like, yeah, you got to go with Power Trip. And Mark Pitts. And then I think that was like validation that I kind of knew what I was doing, you know what I mean? Like, and he respected that. And I think he, we knew what Power Trip to me was obviously the biggest single of his career at that, till today, you know what I mean? Because of what it did. It separated him from everybody else at radio. So that second album was like coming to our own. Him coming to his own as an artist and understanding like what he wanted to be as an artist. Me coming to my own in the role that I play. For not just me, the whole team, like understanding like, yo, we did this. We kind of built this thing that got him this #1 on the first album. We kind of built this thing. So,
did you do Summer Jam right after that?
We came out of Summer Jam
with Miguel.
With Miguel,
yeah,
and then Power Trip.
What was that like for a New York City guy?
I hate Summer Jam.
Oh.
I'm gonna tell y'all the truth, because Ebro a couple years ago asked us to do Summer Jam, and I told him straight up, like, man, that's not a fun show to do. Like, first of all, I'm a true believer that hip hop doesn't belong in stadiums, right? Unless you're Jay-Z doing a hip hop show with Beyonce or with Justin Timberlake, it's hard to pull off just a hip hop show in a stadium. First off, second off, Summer Jam is just waiting for the song of the summer.
Right.
Everybody else they looking at like, what are you doing here? So it's not fun. You know what I mean? And then they always like, I remember like New Jersey, what do you call them?
Oh, the state troopers. Yeah.
Like pull their rifles out on us and the band when we was coming for sound check, because one of us didn't have like a wristband on. We was like, we talking about like, we about to put the wristband on, chill out.
Yeah.
But like, you better put that. We're like, man, we don't need this. Like, like we really don't need this. But it's a great brand for what it's done. I just think that it doesn't play to Cole's strength.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're more of the pre-show parking lot guy.
Yeah, exactly. Like which by the way was a crazy story. We did the pre-show parking lot, and I was DJing, and the show started. And this shit didn't work. And Cole came out to no music. And he looked back so pissed. And he started rapping. And that's when I knew, like, oh,
that you
man,
weren't
this
gonna
guy.
make it as a DJ.
Yeah, that too. Yeah. But that's why I knew, like, oh, this guy gets it. He just started rapping Simba a cappella.
Wow.
And the crowd started going crazy. And while we were back there fixing the CDJs that weren't working, that's my Summer Jam parking lot story.
Oh, my God.
But like, so, yeah, we came out this Summer Jam that year. I think Kendrick was on that year. I remember telling him, like, man, you don't want to headline this. because people leave early.
Yeah.
Like as soon as like it's niggas trying to get to the club,
Yeah.
it empties out. So I told Kendrick like, man, just try to go on a little early.
Talk to us about the surprise of 2014 Forest Hills Drive.
So after Born Sinner, when I think Cole started coming to his own, you know, he did the whole Kanye thing, like, yo, I'm gonna go at Kanye, and it was kind of like looked at by everybody like, well, y'all are crazy, but I think it gave him that confidence, like, if I'm gonna play ball with the big guys, I gotta show up, you know, to the same gym as them, and then after that, I think Cole. I always tell a story to people. I think the biggest changing point was the BT Awards.
When he wore the Versace shirt
Yes.
that everybody else wore.
Exactly. I'm dead serious though. That was it.
That's one of our favorite
Because
things, yeah.
what happened is Cole didn't want to wear that shirt, and the stylist like, you should wear it. It's fire. And I'm a New York nigga. I like flashy shit. So I was like, yeah, that shit is fire. And I'm like, you should throw on that chain too. That Cuban, like, yo, that shit fire. Cole was like, I don't know, man. And the whole joke was like, Cole was like, I don't know, bro. I felt like French Montana gonna have the same shit on. So then Cole was like, yo, somebody go to the red carpet and check and see if French Montana has this on. So we go to the red carpet and they was like, nah, you good. French Montana don't got it on. And then Cole was like, all right, cool. And as he walks out, you know, someone I'll leave their name out who was at home that knew what he had on, was like, no, go back and change. DJ Drama has, but he was already on the red carpet, and then Drama had it on, and then I think like Brandon T. Jackson. Then Cole came back into the dressing room pissed, because he wasn't pissed at anybody else but himself. He was pissed like, I knew I didn't want to wear this. And he's like, this ain't even me. Like, I'm not this guy. Why am I playing this game?
Yeah.
Because other people want me to. He's like, this not me. So he put on like this baseball jersey that was fire that he ended up performing in. And I think after that moment, I could tell like a switch where he was like, I'm done playing this game. I'm done trying to be this person or listening to what these people online are saying or whatever. And then what ended up happening is, that was the beginning. We was on tour. I remember because we was on tour. A lot of bumping heads started happening. You know what I mean? Like, it was a great tour, but just, you know, you argue with people or whatever. It was still like a little bit of resentment, probably with Rock Nation or whatever. But we're on tour, and he was recording something, and on the back of the tour bus, and he called me over. He's like, yo, I got it. I got the name for the next album. I'm like, oh, what is it? He's like, 2014 Forest Hill Drive. And I'm like, this was in 2013. And I'm like, that sounds fire, but what does it mean? He's like, bro, my mom's, they foreclosed that house from us. That was the last house I had in Fayetteville. And I just found out it's going back on the market this year. So I'm going to buy it. So I'm buying that house. And he's like, and you know, I'm gonna name the album 2014 Forest Hills Drive. And like, yo, I have the whole thing in my head. I was like, yo, let's ride, like, let's do it. And then what he did was he had a retreat where he bought, obviously our team was there, By Storm team was there, key people from the Rock Nation team, Universal Publishing, Joey came because we had just did the deal.
Mm-hmm.
Our booking agent Rob Gibbs, who's probably like one of the most important people in Cole's career as far as how he helped build the touring brand. Probably a few more other people, I'm not sure who. So we was there, and it was kind of like a retreat in the spring where Cole's like, this is what I'm doing this year. I'm doing this. I'm gonna do Dollar in the Dream shows. I'm gonna buy the house. I'm gonna have after we talked about it internally, I'm gonna have a listening session in this house. That's how the only way you're going to be able to hear this album. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. Blah, blah, blah. Drop this album 2014 Forest Hill Drive. I remember everybody being like, wow, you guys really got your shit together. Let's see if this happens. You know what I mean? And I think that was the most, and that was really the time where I basically transitioned to management.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember because I went to, so after we had all these ideas and everybody's on board, like, okay, cool. Sounds great. You know, let's see if this happens. I remember going to Rock Nation, and I was like, all right, this is what's gonna happen. We're putting this album out, but we're not gonna put music out before the album. And I'll leave names out. And I remember somebody being there like, yo, what do y'all think? Y'all Beyonce or something? Like, that's not gonna work. And we was like, honestly, we don't care. Like, we don't care about first week numbers on this. We really just want to do it how we want to do it. We believe in this. This is Cole's vision. We want to make it happen. And if the first week numbers don't come out like our past shit has, cool. We believe that down the line, this is going to be our best album to date and it's going to sell the most down the line. Let us just do it this way. And that same person called me to the office later. I was like, yo, when you said that, I really respected that because that's how we came up. You know, with Jay, we always wanted to do it our way. So he's like, if you believe, like, I believe kind of thing. And then me and Cole really had to be like, yo, like, it was real conversation. Like, yo, you know, if we're not going to put out no music and we're just going to, because Cole's whole thing was like, I don't want to put out any music. I want people to digest the whole album, but I want to get people excited with the story of this album. And if we get our fan base excited, then they'll do the rest of the work. Let's not worry about getting SNL slots, Rolling Stone covers to get people, imaginary people excited.
Right. Let's just aim for HBO.
Yo,
no, at the
you know what though?
At the time we didn't have HBO.
No, I know.
At the time it was like, we have this core fan. Let's get them hype. And then if they hype, they're gonna come out and support, and their energy will travel, right? So that was the goal. And then we was like, we just gotta know that if we're not gonna put out any music how we've been doing it, then we have to be cool if these first week numbers come back and they look shaky. You know what I mean?
If it's 75,000,
yeah,
right.
then we have to be cool with that. And Cole was like, I'm cool with it. I was like, if you're cool with it, like, if you're the one that's putting your career, you know, in the fort, like, it's your career. If you're cool with it, how could the rest of us not be cool with it? So that was like the thing. But we really spent time putting together an incredible rollout without the music. So we went to people's house. We went to the schools. We did all these things, and people, the excitement was there without hearing any music. You know what I mean? So that was a fun time.
Watching the journey of that on Vimeo, on HBO was mind-blowing.
Yeah.
And you know what? Like, even if it wasn't your intent to, like, level up or prove that you guys were, like, A-list, that was the result. Like, you watch that and you're just like, holy shit.
Yeah,
like,
no, that's a good point, because I remember feeling like we weren't A-list yet. You know what I mean? And the funny part is, on No Role Models, Cole had the line where he's like, before I was a B-list celebrity. And I remember being like, bro, why you don't say A-list? Like, if we trying to be A-list, like, why we gonna? He's like, because I'm not A-list yet. And I remember being like, damn, like, that's pretty honest. Like, no rapper's gonna call himself a B-list celebrity.
Yeah.
And after that album was really like when it took off. You know what I mean?
And I think you guys talk about it. You might even talk about it, right? That the album came out in December, whatever, and still was the biggest rap album in terms of sales numbers for the year.
For sure. In 2015.
Which is crazy.
And then even in 2016, that album had done 1 billion streams. Like, that album just kept traveling, and it was kind of like, it was just a feeling of like, okay, we know what we're doing now.
Yeah.
Right? We know what we're doing. We know how to bring to life what we're trying to get through, right? And we trust ourselves, you know what I mean? We're going to make mistakes. We'll make mistakes tomorrow, next week, whatever. But we're like at the best place we are right now to just why we wanted to do this in the first place. Yeah. It was fun. You know, it was fun. Like, that shit was fun. Like, to do that rollout, go to people's house, you know what I mean? Have people come to Fayetteville. They listen to the album. Cole walks in. They're like, it was just fun. It was just a fun ass time because it started with Cole. Cole shed all of the, I don't want to say expectations, but all the thoughts of like being this thing. He's like, no, I'm Jermaine Cole. Like, that's what we're going to focus on. And it was just fun as fuck. And it worked. It worked. Like, it worked. You know, we seen that.
And how has life changed for you since you guys brought Dreamville over to Interscope and really launched the careers of a whole bunch of talented kids?
It's fun because you get to start over and you get to do it different. But it wasn't like we're not there yet in a sense. Like, we're there because we have a lot of people that's starting to take off, but we're not fully there. I think what happened is when we went from Forest Hill Drive where everything was booming, Cole fell back. You know what I mean? And now it's like starting other people's career was fun, and for him to play a different role now was fun. But we didn't get to where we want to get yet. I wouldn't even say we got to where we want to get with any other artists yet. You know what I mean? It's not like, not only as a label, just the individual. I think we're on path to what we wanted to do. But like, you know, Bas is clearly on his way. You know, JID has got heat on him. Like, Cozz is about to put out his album. His shit is going. Like, of course, you know, Ari, Omen, Loot, everybody has their lane that they're really, I will say this year, to me, is the most exciting year because I've heard everybody's music and I'm like, holy shit, you guys are all at the best of your ability right now, which is impressive and fun. So it's like that, we haven't gotten there yet, but we're getting there. I think that since, I'll say this, when Forest Hill Drive dropped, Apple Music and Tidal didn't even exist. You know what I mean? Like, Spotify was the only thing, and then Cole did 11 million streams his first week, and it was the biggest ever. So from Forest Hill Drive to now to even to when we got to 4 Eyes Only, the game had changed so much. So I think it was a lot of learning, relearning, you know what I mean, that we had to do and that we're doing now. Mm-hmm. There's like, you have to relearn. You have to like go through it again. You know, we learned putting 4 Eyes Only out. We learned putting Bas album out. We learned doing these HBO, like you have to relearn because the game has changed, and that's the fun part, really.
Eric and I were having a conversation last night with somebody who used to work with another rapper who has taken time off of social media and had lost out on deals because he was not on social media.
The rapper or the manager?
The rapper.
Okay.
Who cares about the manager?
Yeah, sure. Who cares about managers?
But, you know, Cole is another artist who isn't really present at all on social media. What is that like? You know, do you have other aspirations for him other than just being a rapper, just being somebody on the music side? Like, is he somebody who you're like, or does he want to be somebody?
I think it's more about what he wants to do. I think that for sure that there's other plans, and I think his brand, like you know, in any contract you do now, party hosting, shows, whatever, they include like social media. First thing I tell him off bat, he's not doing that.
Right.
Like, we're not tweeting. We're not your promoters.
Mm-hmm.
We are not the promoters. You know what I mean? You promote your party. Like, that's your job. You promote your show. That's your job. Our job is to show up and deliver, right? So he's not. That's Cole's thing. Like, I'm not a promoter.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have to promote anything I don't want to promote. So we put that out there, and we still get the deals we want. You know what I mean? It's never stopped anybody, but his reach is just really good. You know what I mean? Like, and I always say to people, I don't think Cole has the most fans out of all the hip hop artists.
They're just the loudest.
Yes, and they're also like the biggest percentage of fans that actually come out and support whatever he does. Mm-hmm. Like, some other artists might have 2 million fans, but like 250 will come out and support. If Cole has, like, let's just say 2 million fans, 1.5 of those are coming out, no matter what. You know, like, they really believe in him. They believe in his brand. So, and he's understanding of like, I'm gonna focus on them first and foremost. Everything else is extra. And you know, that's what he does. Like, that's what he does better than anybody. And he understands that.
When it comes to building, you know, these newer artists' careers, do you talk to like a top dog? Do you talk to other people and say like, you know, not what do you do, but like, you know, do you get game off of anybody?
Well, I definitely talk to other people, but not frequently. And I also realize like everything's different.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, Top's operation is way different than ours, you know? Like, they run it a certain way, but I have a great relationship with Dave. You know, I have a great relationship with Top when I see him, but I talk to Dave more. So I'll talk to him about something. We'll go back and forth here and there. Not too often. The person I'll probably talk to the most easily is probably Future the Prince, who manages Drake. So, and he's also like, he's a friend first, you know, at this point. So we'll talk a lot, but I'll ask people here and there, like I tell you, the other day I called XXX manager, Solomon, right? Who's a kid I knew from before, who's, trying to get one of the other artists signed that we knew, who now mans XXX. And I told him, I'm like, bro, I have things I have to relearn from scratch. Because the game is different. Like, I can't walk around like I know everything. I don't know how you break an XXX. How did that happen? I don't know how Lil Pump breaks. I don't know how any of these kids break, but it's interesting because it's a whole new world. They know how to use a whole new world to their advantage. And with these new artists, they don't have to do the same thing they did, but you have to play somehow where you get the same results, right? So how do you do that? And so, of course, like, I'll ask questions. I don't mind asking questions. I talk to Sasha from Scoremore a lot. That's my close friend, you know what I mean? And he does it in a different way. And he started with shows and touring, and he's building something else. So it's like, I like picking people's brains because I come first and foremost from the creative side of working on music, working on a vision, on a rollout, on a brand. Like, what are we trying to get accomplished? The other stuff I've learned as I went. I'm still learning. I don't think you ever stop learning. Not as long as shit changes. You know what I mean? Like, people are coming up off of who the fuck knows what. Like, I mean, Lil Pump came up with a whole fuck J. Cole campaign. That's pretty impressive. Like, of course he was doing other shit.
Right.
But it's like, the art of trolling is incredible because it's real now. Like, guy had a huge hit. You know what I mean? You can't deny that.
Yeah.
So it's about learning. I don't mind asking people questions.
Well, congratulations on an amazing run so far, and everything that you're doing now with your whole roster. You still are a hell of a coach, by the way.
Thanks.
And it's unbelievable, like, what you have done, kicking in the door of the music industry, just knocking on that door, you and the rapist,
Yeah, me and the rapist. Yeah, we gotta stop doing that before people start like. No, but that's real. I mean, I think that, I would say that I think that it's fun, like, being able to bring his vision to life. But at the end of the day, he knows what he wants to do, probably more than anybody I've ever seen, and how he wants to do it. Even the fact that he can turn down money because he knows it's something bigger at the end. Like after his first album, he should have renegotiated his deal, right? Because his deal was, it was this little kind of shitty deal in a sense, because he was a new artist for nothing. And he would always be like, nah, I'm good. Second album, they kind of renegotiate. Nah, I'm good. I'm away. I know what I'm doing. After the third album, he's like, all right, now I want my masters back. Like, I don't want money. Just give me my, like, the fact that, like, that's a vision that not a lot of people have, or like saying, I want to do certain things. Like, he thinks 5 years down the line, which, it makes it easy for me, because then it's like, I just got to go execute it. Sometimes, of course, we come up with the idea together, we come up with things, or, of course, a lot of times. But when you haven't, I always tell people, because I deal with this with our new artists on some of them. I'm like, it's but so much the people around you can do for you if you don't have an idea for yourself what you want to do. You know what I mean? Like, first and foremost, you got to have your own team. And then you can use a label or a Dreamville or a TD, whatever the case, wherever you at. But you gotta have your own team, and you gotta be knowing what you want and trying to build that out. You know what I mean? Before anything else, you can't just make music and be like, all right, I did my part. Like, nah, that's not how it works no more. Because people don't buy into music; they buy into the artist. You know what I mean? Like, just to use him as an example again, these kids love Lil Pump. You know what I mean? Like, it don't matter that he had a top hit. He would, whatever that song was gonna be, it was gonna go. People love Drake. You know what I mean? Like, people love Cole. People love Kendrick before anything. And the music, of course, the music has to go hand in hand with that. But if they don't love you, they're not coming out to the show. They'll listen to your music, but they're not gonna support it necessarily. And I think if you have a vision for yourself, there's no way that can really happen in a sense. But,
thanks so much, Ib.
Nah, thank y'all.
Yeah.
That was fun.
That was awesome. Thanks, everyone, for listening to this new episode of A Waste of Time with It's The Real. Jeff, if people want to find out more about you and me, not the Cassie song, or is that me and you? You and me, right?
I can't remember.
If people want to find out more about that song, We're It's The Real. If people want to find out more about this podcast, it's called A Waste of Time with It's The Real. And if people want to find out more about what's going on in our lives, where can they go?
You can always go to ItsTheReal.com, ItsTheReal, no apostrophes, no spaces. Go to ItsTheReal.com for all updates. It's The Real. You can find our podcast on iTunes. Search for A Waste of Time with It's The Real. We are also on SoundCloud.com/A Waste of Time. We're also on Stitcher and I think most streaming services.
Yes, correct.
If you're trying to listen to our podcast, all of our episodes are on there.
Wherever you're listening right now, go back there.
Go back there and listen to our podcast. If you are looking for our music, it is on all streaming services, including but not limited to Spotify, where our song Sugar High is up to 552,000 plays. Go listen again.
Do it again. Go listen to Waco, which was played in the Tonight Show the other day. Go to Tidal and listen to Waco. Go to Apple Music and listen to V-Neck. Go to Pandora and listen to Indoor Boys. Go to...
Wait, you really want people to like spread their oats like this?
Listen, guys. This is like the Airbnb of streaming platforms. Go do it.
Yeah.
Just do it.
If you want to find us on Instagram, we are at It's The Real. Facebook at It's The Real. Twitter at It's The Real. On Snapchat, we are It's The Real because It's The Real was taken. And on Twitch, we are It's The Real, even though we've never used Twitch.
So, we've been looking at the numbers lately. It's become sort of our latest hobby. We're like, well, we're doing well with the podcast, but we want to do better. So, what do the numbers say? The numbers say that we want to double up again.
That's what the numbers say?
The numbers are like, come on, let's double up and make this a really big year. So that only happens if you guys spread the word and tell a friend. And we know that starts with us. And we love to tell you guys to go tell your friends. So, Jeff, who would you like to tell?
I have so many people to tell about this podcast because there were so many people on Twitter who were like, drop this podcast now. It's Friday and you announced it now.
Yeah.
So blah, 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 blah. So, I just want to shout out a few quick people. I want to shout out Real Smith Mix. That's Jeff Smith. I also want to shout out 707GSW. I want to shout out FMSL Gabby and Anthony Supreme and Polo Piffington.
All right.
I also want to shout out Dynamite. This is Warren Filou and Raymain.
All right. I, Jeff, would like to shout out one of our most loyal followers who every time we say not for real on any platform, he responds with, sure, Detroit Player. And that's Detroit, Plair. And the funny thing about Detroit Player is that he does not live in Detroit anymore.
Where does he live?
I don't know. He told me one time and I forgot. I don't remember if it's like somewhere in Ohio or if it's in Buffalo or somewhere else. But he doesn't live in Detroit anymore.
Does he live in the swingers den in LA?
He might. I just don't know. But Detroit Player, when you're listening to this, please let us know where you're living these days because we want to get this right.
We want to get you back to Detroit.
We're trying to make that Detroit thing happen, and you are our connection. Guys, spread the word about this podcast. Go listen to our music. Go check out our videos. Go check out that Rockefeller video. Why not? Go check out the DJ Semtex video. Why not? Go check out our Waco video. Why not? As always, guys, not for real.
Sure.
See you guys next week.